You're listening to M.T.V.B. Podcast. Movies, TV, video and board games. This show may contain swearing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the M.T.V.B. podcast, and it's the podcast that talks about movies, TV shows, video games and board games. This week's episode is going to be a TV episode, and it's going to be based on TV shows that we watched during our childhood. Today I'm joined by one of the co-hosts of Legends of Podcasting, Stuart Stark. How are you, sir?
I'm very good. Thanks for having me back, dude.
Thanks for coming back. And I've also got with me another co-host from the Bored Stupid podcast, Simon, and my hetero life mate, Silent Bob. How are you?
Hey, buddy. I'm good, man. How are you?
Thanks for coming on, guys. Do you want to do a quick plug for your podcast quickly?
Yeah, sure. Thanks very much. Yeah, so I'm part of the Legends of Podcasting. We do a YouTube reaction channel with all things superhero related, and also do podcasts. So recently on the DC Fandom that came out over the weekend, there are lots and lots of podcasts. We're talking about all the new trailers and all the things DC that came out. So yeah, come and check us out.
Yeah. So, you want to go for it?
Yeah, I am one half of Bored Stupid with my good buddy Wayne. We talk about D&D, board games, tabletop gaming, and all cool things. You can find us at anchor.fm/Bored Stupid. That's BOARD. And on Facebook at Stupid Board Nerds.
Very nice. So, our childhood TV shows. Guys, are you ready to go back to yesteryear?
Nostalgia overload.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one.
I did a bit of research for this and couldn't drag myself away from watching old episodes.
Just watch every show back again.
Well, and there's such a depth of stuff
Absolutely.
to talk about now, so
Absolutely.
I have to make sure I don't ramble just too much.
Nah, ramble as much as you want. And you can swear on the show.
Fuck yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, childhood shows. Hopefully you guys can remember, because my first question to you guys is, can you remember your first show at all? Your first kids show, TV show, animated, live?
I remember watching types of show rather than one specific show as being the first one. So that'd be like your classic 60s, 70s cartoons and stuff like Bugs Bunny with Elmer Fudd, Daffy Duck, that kind of thing. Basic 5-minute little shows. You got I'm going to say Minnie Mouse then. That's not who I mean. Tom and Jerry. There we go.
Jerry.
Wow.
That's a whole different thing.
Must be Monday.
It was very mouse themed. You had like Danger Mouse.
There's Speedy Gonzales. All kinds of stuff.
All mouse.
Question. Do you know what the bad guy's called in Danger Mouse?
Oh, the frog guy.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yes. It was Baron Greenback.
Yes.
Well done. Everyone struggles with that.
Penfold.
Sorry, Stuart. I stole it from you.
No,
and of course, voiced by David Jason.
Yes.
Quite famously.
Was he?
Yeah, Danger Mouse.
Yeah, Danger Mouse was, but who was Baron?
Oh, actually, I'm not sure who did the Baron. But
even though Baron looked like David Jason.
Oh, that's me. I'm going to look it up.
Sorry, David, I know you're a big fan of the show.
I said, sorry. Stu, can you remember your one?
Yeah, well, I mean, there was it can't have been Power Rangers because it was like in the 80s, but there was a form of Power Rangers I remember watching as a kid.
Really?
Because I lived in France from like 3 to 5 years old.
No.
Yeah, oui.
Oh. Holy shit! I didn't even know that about you.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't speak I still can't really speak a word for it. I can understand it. I can't speak it. But yeah, there was definitely some sort of Power Ranger coloured people, multicolored people jumping around, and there was a Zorro cartoon because I remember watching that.
Wait, you're talking an animated thing that's a bit like Power Rangers? You don't mean Voltron?
No. It was a live action thing.
Oh, a live action thing. Okay.
But it was
Ultraman.
So, no. I mean, that was well.
That was roughly that era, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, same sort of thing. But it was definitely sort of that, whatever that was. Zorro, and there was things like Bugs Bunny and DuckTales was a big one as well.
DuckTales. Yeah, that was good.
They were the ones that they're the first ones I remember.
Nice. I think the one I can remember, the first one I watched must have been Fraggle Rock.
Oh, yes.
Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Fraggle Rock.
Still sing the theme tune wrong every time.
Every time.
There's a rude version, isn't there? Sorry.
Well, that's the only one I know. I don't know the actual theme tune. I just know the one
now
where
you're going to have to sing it.
Where you grab it by the...
Yeah, we might do it at the end.
Fade out to us.
That's the outro. That's the outro done.
So do you guys want to go from there and just tell us your history with what you watched as a child, if you can remember that is, of course.
Without spoiling the top 5?
Yeah, if you can, go into your top 5 because we want to, drag that out as much as you can.
We've been chatting, folks. We're going to try and avoid, but not only our own, but each other's top 5. This is going to be tough, I think.
I don't know what your top 5s are, but yeah. I mean, like from like when I was on last time, obviously, now I'm massive into comic books and comic book fan. So obvious ones that I haven't put in the top 5 because I thought they'd be too obvious is like things like Batman the Animated Series, Spider-Man, X-Men, the 60s Spider-Man show, all those sort of ones. The Fantastic Four show from the 90s as well.
The 60s Spider-Man show is hilarious.
Oh, yeah. That was the most classic theme tune. Everyone still sings that theme tune.
This is true. I think it had about 13 frame rates.
Yeah. So he swung 3 different ways. They even did, there was
that when it was like the Hanna-Barbera era looking Spider-Man?
There's one where he just had the pattern on the hood and just plain red.
Oh, was it live action?
No, it was cartoon one.
I think I remember that one.
I remember the live action one
I
as well.
think they've memed it recently, haven't they? Where there's a circle of Spider-Man clones all in, and then people.
Oh, yeah, okay, right.
At the end of the multiverse Spider-Man into the multiverse one, he's pointing at the one at the end. There's that one.
Oh, right, okay.
That one. That's the one I remember.
That Into the Spider-Verse movie. I did say that film was so damn good.
Oh yeah,
I think it's the best Spider-Man movie.
So good.
My favourite by far.
I'm looking forward to the second one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I'm hoping they get Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield into it.
They're going to have to now.
That'd be a shout.
They were meant to get in the first one, and they couldn't get the schedule.
And it's an Oscar winner as well. So.
Really good. But
yeah, back to the 80s.
So anyway, was your Spider-Man French by any chance?
Originally, yes. It's just like, but So those sort of ones, and there was loads of like sci-fi stuff. I remember there was a video store in Ifield where we live, where I used to rent out many shows. There was one called I think it was like a Japanese one. I think the English equivalent is like Golda or something. It was about a guy from space who had this sort of robot and this massive ship that came out of with like big yellow horns.
Oh,
that was quite cool.
Not sure I know that.
No, yeah, there was that one. And
I thought you were going to say Guyver when you said.
Could have been.
Guyver's very heavy manga.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. That was much more adult oriented, but I don't know, man.
Potentially, I might be wrong. Comments can correct
comment
me.
below.
Yeah,
let me know.
And then there's some of the other ones I don't really want to mention. They're in my top 5, but then there was a few that my friends got me into as well. So
we're gonna get
yeah, they're the main ones.
Sorry.
Yeah, so as I say, kind of starting off with the real classics like Foghorn, Leghorn, and the cool stuff like that. Flintstones.
Yeah,
featured very heavily in the early days.
Like that and Tom and Jerry were like my parents pushing them on me. They were like, "Oh, watch these, you're awesome."
Yeah, and what I didn't realise at the time, and same with other animated movies I watched, Lady and the Tramp I had on VHS, watched that a bunch. No idea it was so much older than I was. Because when you're a kid, you don't really have any...
You think it's like recent.
You just assume it was made for you because you're a kid and it's a kid's film.
Totally.
But Lady and the Tramp was from 1957.
Yeah,
so like,
crazy, isn't it?
And same with the Flintstones cartoons are from the 60s and the 70s. And you watch it as a kid, you're like, I don't know, it's just what you watch. Speaking of living in France, I remember going on holiday. I think I was 9 at the time and watching Inspector Gadget, but the French version.
Yeah.
I love it.
Which is very cool.
And
I loved that show. It was really, it's the inventiveness. Like how wacky can you make the next ridiculous thing that he has as an invention? Yeah.
Again, right, so like with most of us, we didn't have it like online just to stream or on Netflix just to stream all the episodes. So most of my childhood memories are like I had 1 or 2 VHS tapes which had like 3 or 4 episodes on of different shows, and I had like Inspector Gadget one which had like 4 episodes on it, which had like him and his niece Penny. I want to say her name was Penny.
Yeah,
and the dog, and she was like actually the clever spy. And
I think the dog was called Brain.
Yeah. Inspector Gadget was like just the decoy for some random reason.
Going back watching Inspector Gadget, I never ever realised as a kid how fucking annoying Inspector Gadget is. He is a dumbass.
I think, thinking on it now, he was very much in the vein of Peter Sellers' Pink Panther.
Yes.
Inspector Clouseau. The bumbling idiot who solves the case by happenstance rather than any actual dedicated or skillful.
Out of pure luck.
Yeah.
But you still never see what Claw looks like. You never see his arm.
I'll get you next time.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Never seen what that guy looks like. Ever.
And he always had that cat as well.
Yeah.
It's like,
again, that's a James Bond Blofeld reference,
it is,
right?
yes, that's right.
The whole thing was
yeah.
just a pastiche of earlier spy movies.
That was the first car I ever really wanted, because it turned into a big van and then turned into a car.
Turned into the car, and then the little sub.
Yeah.
They're going underwater as well, yeah.
That was James Bond, but did it?
It was James Bond as well, did that, yeah.
Did they just go underwater? Oh, I never saw that episode.
Yeah.
God, I have to go back and YouTube that.
I'm not going to lie. I've written out a huge list here. I've kind of broken it down into what feels like 3 or 4 distinct sections. So there was the very older cartoon type stuff.
Yeah, go for it.
Then there was more. I realised writing down the list, huge number of sci-fi action oriented cartoons.
Yeah, too fucking right.
So many, and I'm going to avoid the ones that are in my top 5.
Please mention GoBots.
GoBots.
Yeah,
Jason the Wheeled Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, that nearly went into the top 5.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I honestly thought that was going to be your top 5. Are you shitting me?
I've decided to put one of the others in.
Oh my god.
It's so damn. If you don't remember Jason the Wheeled Warriors, again, it was one of these epic sci-fi adventures.
You know, best thing about it, and most other shows in the 80s, best theme tunes. If you like YouTube 80s cartoon theme tunes,
I was going to touch up
all
on that.
amazing.
Yeah, there's a couple of my top 5 where I definitely need to.
Yeah, they had the best openings ever.
I think my number 3 has my favourite theme tune ever.
I think I know that one, but I was so. I thought Jason would be in the 5.
So, like, because like with Jason was so I watch a channel on YouTube called Top Toy Galaxy. She's like this guy who like reviews history of toys and stuff.
I think I watched one of his episodes yesterday.
Yeah, right. And he did Jason the Warriors. I watched that one like a few weeks ago. I didn't realize that the figures never had anything to do with the show. There's a whole episode on it, so there was no actual figures because they did the figures first, then they made the show. By the time they got around to making the figures for the show, they cancelled it.
Oh, okay.
So the figures are like sort of generic kind of car things that don't really look like the ones from the show, and then the people are just haven't even got a face. It's just a little person.
Yeah,
I would imagine the toys being really difficult because weren't they plants that turned into?
They were the bad guys.
The bad guys were these enormous sentient
monster minds.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I might have listened to the theme tune the other day.
Yeah, who's the bad guy?
Monster Minds.
No.
I don't know.
It was Sawboss.
Sawboss.
Monster Minds.
Yeah, and he had this massive kind of hulking, throbbing, veiny, ivy-looking plant.
That's right.
Thing.
Yes,
and they all became these huge animated, like your worst giant in the beanstalk kind of thing ever. And then these human survivors on this planet, trying to essentially defend their little outpost against.
Find Jace's father to reunite the.
They had 2 halves of an amulet or something, didn't they? And one of the things that always bugged me, and I'm gonna have to find it. So many people called it Jason, and it wasn't. It was Jace, Jayce.
Yes,
Jace and the Wheeled Warriors. That's right.
And of course, because it's not a familiar thing, everyone, Jason and the Wheeled Warriors. No, there's no.
Did they not change it then? It always stayed as Jace.
As far as I know, it's always Jace. And
I don't know if it was like because you know how Ninja Turtles was Hero Turtles in UK.
Yeah, I was going to mention the Ninja versus Hero. On there. Yeah. It's tempting to just reel off this list, but it might not be as interesting.
No, reel it off because
might spoil some top
I'm going to
5.
fill in. I'm going to fill in what you don't. So
I'm going to go with ones I don't think will be in your top 5 at least.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Visionaries.
Oh my god, I was going to say that.
That's in my top 5.
I had so many toys.
No way, really? Oh, sorry, dude.
I had so many toys of Visionaries. They were so fucking
holographic animals.
Yes, it was so good.
Another great
Didn't they
tune.
come out of the hologram and chest?
And then you have to say like a rhyme to get the ones out of the power staffs.
Yeah, it was so good.
The concept of it is amazing.
And you know, there's only 13 episodes of that because I got the DVD at home.
I've got the DVD set as well.
And I was like, loads of other shows had like 100 plus 200 shows that had 13 episodes of that show.
Well, that's why I said it. I thought it was a bit more niche. I thought, maybe you guys would.
I get niche.
Similarly niche from what I remember was Centurions.
I love Centurions.
My friend Liam, who we do the podcast with, he lives in America, got me into them because him and his brother had the figures.
Yeah,
he used to go around his house just to play with those figures.
I had a mate of mine who had the figures, so I had to go in his to play them.
Yeah, damn straight. And I was like, and it's just the way they had the suits. You just plug everything in. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was perfect for toys. I can't remember if this was one of the ones because there's so many of the shows we watched as kids.
Absolutely,
the toys, as you said with Jace, the toys came first, and then they went, "We need to market this. How do we market it? Let's make a damn cartoon."
Yeah,
and it It worked with me. God, I wanted every single one of them.
Like, go into this Toy Galaxy YouTube. He's done an episode on that. He's done everything pretty much that we watched as kids. Like, just the whole history of it's so fascinating how it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, Centurions.
Centurion wasn't one like a marine expert and
Max Ray.
Max Ray, there you go.
He was my favourite.
And like a
flying guy. Ace McLeod. And I can't remember.
You got to remember the other guy now. There's three.
Something Jace Rockwell. No, something Jace. Something Rockwell. But he was like the land guy.
That's right. Yeah.
It's super American, super 80s.
Yeah, and then he had a dog called Shadow for no reason, and they had that space station in the sky.
I remember the space station. I don't remember the dog though.
Yeah, the one on the ground had a dog.
The space station was the one that shot down the parts.
Yeah. So they teleports them to wherever they are, and then they teleports their things, and they see that whole cool thing where they stand there and with their arms out, and it just goes.
I remember it being super like it kept flashing like if you didn't have epilepsy, you would have made it through the scene.
Yeah. It's like Man of Machine.
Oh my god!
I suppose
how is this not a movie already?
As a comic book guy, you'll be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but I suppose it was a forerunner of the Iron Man 3 concept where the suit flies in and attaches to the person rather than being something they climb into it.
And again, things like this, I think they made like a very short comic book series about Centurions, and I don't know if they did Jace, but definitely Centurions. It's like 6 issues. But
and these concepts are just so cool. Like, we've got 3. I mean, they're well-trained guys, but they're just guys. They're not superheroes. They've not got superpowers. But we've got this cool technology thing, and it's
just sort of making the things. So rather than having things like cool weapons and stuff, just as like a G.I. Joe person or something, it's more like they just attach to them. It's like,
I always thought it was better than G.I. Joe. I was never really into G.I. Joe.
I don't remember watching G.I. Joe really.
Action Man, that's a different story. That's a toy thing, but
no, I don't think I.
G.I. Joe was well out of it as well. Oh, another one.
Similar vein. I mean, these are all going to be action sci-fi stuff.
Bring it on, man.
Nice.
Bucky O'Hare.
Oh.
Yes, Captain Bucky O'Hare.
Love it.
He goes when the ordinary river over there.
Okay, it just captured my imagination so well.
Copyright for so many features.
Oh man,
I don't think they're close enough to the original.
Let's call some toads.
All of these shows, they just super catch my imagination. It's just a regular nerdy kid fell through a portal in space and ended up on this crazy planet flying through space on a ship.
It makes total sense.
Didn't he have like a massive
sense?
Total sense.
Didn't he have like a massive gorilla as like a sidekick or something?
That was the boy, wasn't he? Didn't he dress up as the gorilla?
There was an actual kind of Chewbacca style creature.
That's it.
But then to disguise himself, Willie would put on one of the spacesuits with like the monkey mask almost.
Right, that's it.
Kind of disguise himself. Obviously, he was about 3 foot short.
I remember the pilot was a duck.
Yeah, 4-armed duck.
Yeah,
right? I've got that figure. I used to have that figure at home somewhere.
Dead-eye duck.
Dead-eye duck.
Of course he was.
Yeah, 4 arms but 1 eye.
That's it. Oh, so good.
Amazing.
Why are these shows not good today, man? It's just like, why can't kids have what we had?
Well, I don't know if you wanted to dive into that in a bit, but yeah, I mean, obviously there's a degree of we're damn old versus...
true. Yeah.
As we got older, I felt, certainly after a point, the quality really did just drop off. The inventiveness, and with exceptions, obviously, I'm sure there's still good stuff out there, but the consistent quality dropped off right away, I think. And the stuff that we grew up with that actually felt like it had some investiture in the concept and the characters and the design.
Yeah.
Well,
it then became very kind of manufactured.
Yeah, well, there was a proper like continuous story for most of the ones in the 80s. Right? So Visionaries, like, and I guess Bucky O'Hare did as well. It's like, it wasn't just one-off episodes that didn't make any sense. It was a continuous tale going through.
Yeah, kind of largely episodic, but also
there's an underlying story,
an arc. Yeah.
So like, a lot of when it started filtering off, it was all just like very one-off episodes of stuff.
Yeah,
very random.
Maybe the incessant reduction in attention spans, myself included, I'm sure.
No, true.
They cater to shorter and shorter episodes, but interesting to look into the mess.
It's going back to like Stu saying where Visionaries had only 13 episodes. I never knew that.
Yeah. Well, so I used to have like the first 3 or 4 episodes, or like the sort of mini movie of how they got their powers and stuff. And then there was loads of episodes after, but I never watched them as a kid because I only had this VHS which had those 4 episodes on.
Yeah.
So then when I was like saw it on DVD and like HMV, I was like, oh, I'll get that. Must be loads of episodes. And then I got home, I was like, 13? I don't even laugh. I had like other, I'm not going to go into because it might be my top 5, but there's other shows I got the DVD box sets for, and it was like hundreds and hundreds of episodes. And I was like, damn, I had watched like 2 as a kid. I thought it was really cool. So
yeah, and you're happy to rewatch and rewatch, aren't you? Because
Absolutely.
again, because it's not instantly available beyond what you own.
yeah, so every morning, be going downstairs when my parents still asleep, putting the VHS in, watching that video again of like the whatever episode it was of whatever show.
Yeah, and they were only like 20, 25 minutes because certainly to me they felt so action packed.
Oh yeah,
Like from start to end, and again going back to the theme tunes, you're like, yeah, you can sing along, and you got the cool laser. I mean, most of the stuff I've got down has got some kind of lasers in somewhere. All these cool explosions. I'm just going to rip through some of these quickly, unless you guys.
No, carry on.
I've got a couple as well. Yeah.
Bots Master.
Oh, that literally that again. Toy Galaxy, I'm totally plugging their channel. I watched that 2 days ago. He put a video up about Bots Master.
Really?
Laser time, boys. The 3D glasses.
I don't think I've ever watched it.
Oh,
It was a French animation. It was a guy. All these concepts have basically a teenager or young adult facing off against his bastard mega corporation trying to take over the planet. It seems to be a consistent theme through so many of these shows.
Yeah.
He worked for this corporation that made robots to do pretty much anything you can imagine.
Okay.
And then the head honcho of that decided to make them all military fighting machines and was going to install a chip in every one of them to make this global army of robots that would then take over the planet. And the original creator was this guy called Zib Zoolander, ZZ for short. As the
everything has a Z in it.
Yeah.
In that show, it was great.
it's like making a D&D character now. You'll find that people always put Z's, X's, and V's in stuff because it sounds really outlandish.
It sounds evil.
Yeah. And he went into hiding with his group of robots he created. Like there was the boys, and you're like with a Z,
With a Z, yeah.
lots of Z's, and there was a one that could change into like a massive one that joined together.
Yeah, you had like a
classic
car,
one.
a car that kind of transformed into a humanoid kind of style.
Similar to some sort of other show that was very famous.
It was, a similarity there. There was Ninjas was one of my favourite, and he was the only one that was like an elite fighting unit specifically designed for combat.
Yeah.
And he always I think he might have had multiple arms as well, but he could spin the nunchucks and stuff. And obviously, everyone loves ninja stuff. As
Of
a
course,
kid.
yeah.
And then you had the sporting boys as well, and I think it's BOYZZ because you need as many Z's as you can.
And the unique things, because I watched that thing the other day, the unique thing about it was there was this point in the show where he said it's like laser time, boys, and he put 3D glasses on his helmet.
That's right, yeah.
And you could, with the toys, there was 3D glasses that you could put on, and then those bits of the episode would actually be 3D.
And they'd have like the red-blue shifter thing, wasn't it?
I think he was the guy. The guy was saying it's sort of there was nothing with that. So if you didn't watch, you wouldn't know. Okay. It was more the depth of what was happening. So there was things in the background and stuff that was moving at different rates. So if you had the 3D on, you could really notice it. But if you didn't, it didn't matter.
Right. Okay.
So, but it was quite. I don't know how many episodes it was, but it was quite an interesting concept.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Google that one. I'll send you a link after today's.
The thing is, though, there's a couple bits like the Zoolander thing that sounds familiar. But
I reckon as soon as you
remember.
Again, it's one of the things you see the theme tune, you'll be singing along.
Okay.
Not only will you recognise it, you'll start singing it because you'll go, "Oh yeah, that's in my head."
Fair enough.
30 years on, it's still in your head. I guarantee. Where do I start? Where do I continue?
Well, I've got a couple.
Yeah, go on. I suppose I told you I'd ramble. So
that's fine. Here's all right. Right. Defenders of the Earth.
Yes.
Defenders of the Earth.
With Flash Gordon, Phantom, and whatnot. Yeah.
Mandrick.
Mean Merciless.
Oh, great show, right?
Yeah, that was a
great theme tune again.
Again, yes.
Loving the theme tune.
I remember having that game on the Commodore 64 as well. That was so freaking good. You press the space bar and Phantom helps you pull down the door. It was so amazing.
Give me the power of 10 tigers.
Yes.
Yeah, you wanted to be Phantom, right? Or did you want to be one of the other main characters?
I mean, Phantom was the favourite.
Phantom was definitely the one for me. I did have a soft spot, I suppose, for Mandrake because magic is cool. Yeah. But
and it was the other Lothar was the other one.
Yep,
Lothar. Yeah, great. Another great theme tune. You've got Brave Star.
Yes.
Yes, I was getting towards.
Yes, wasn't that the guy who had like a strength of a bear or whatever?
Speed of a puma.
That's it.
Very similar, to Phantom.
Yeah, exactly it. You've got.
I watched an entire episode of that yesterday.
What was this horse called that turned into
30-30?
Yeah, 30-30.
When they robotic horses.
Yeah, no, that's another show I'm talking about. That's in my top 5.
No, 30-30 was.
He was half robotic.
It was kind of cybernetic, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And he had this badass shotgun. It was awesome.
Yeah, he just pulls out nowhere and just shoots him. And then you have Biker Mice from Mars.
Biker Mice from Mars, yes. I freaking love that. Biker Mice from Mars. And again, the toys for that were freaking great as well.
I think I definitely had those. You got you got Silverhawks. That's a bit rare.
Do you know what? Silverhawks, I didn't think you would ever know what that was. I was going to be in the question later on.
Yeah.
But Silverhawks was deep for a kid's show. That was very manga-esque sort of thing, wasn't it? And
Well,
I'm not sure I remember that.
Silverhawks, it was made by the people that did something that's in my top 5, which I don't want to talk about. But
Okay.
when we get to that top 5, I'll mention it for you.
While you talk, I'm going to remind myself, because I'm not sure whether it's the thing I'm thinking of. But carry on. Please carry on.
You other like sort of more like, because all the other sort of cool action stuff's in my top 5, but like kiddie stuff like the raccoons.
Raccoons,
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, raccoons was so good.
What was the back? They were like a pink.
Yeah, pink
sort
guy,
of-
and he had his little geeky son who was like.
But what were they meant to be pigs or something? I don't know, because they had like a long snout, like
When they called the snorks or something. Weird.
Oh, so they weren't an actual animal. There was just like
I don't think they were supposed to represent an earthbound animal. No,
because everything else was
thing.
but them, wasn't it? I know they had like 3 little pigs that were their servants or something.
That's
or
right.
whatnot.
Yeah, like the Huey, Dewey, and Louie of the bad guys.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. We mentioned all the other ones, I think. There was Ghostbusters was there. And
The real
Ghostbusters.
The real ones. God damn it.
That was quite scary.
Yeah.
For kids, like some of the monsters. I mean, they had it on Netflix a couple of years ago, and I bought I bought for my daughter. I actually bought it for me. The Playmobil Ghostbusters.
Nice. Good work.
We got her into it, and she's like, "I quite like Ghostbusters." Oh yeah, because it's on Netflix. We watched it. And it's like, oh shit, some of these ghosts are quite scary.
Yeah. Well, if you watch, like, I got my daughter got into the Nickelodeon Turtles,
The recent one.
Yeah, recent one, right? Some of that is really dark and
Is it
scary.
really?
Yeah,
I'm not watching
you've
it
got
'cause-
you got like Ratcatcher and stuff. Who's like, I was watching, going, Jesus, I'm pretty freaked out by this. So let alone,
Yeah, big
let alone
softy.
like a 4-year-old watching it, but she loves it. She goes, Booyakasha! Like jumps around as Mikey now. She loves it. I'm just like, good parenting.
Did they say Booyakasha now?
Booyakasha? Instead of Cowabunga, it's Booyakasha. Mikey.
What is going on?
Mikey.
It's
Mikey
not
son.
Turtles if it's not
It's
Cowabunga.
quite good though. I mean, it's
Are they
Cowabunga
Rey
as well.
Mysterio fans?
Rey
No,
Mysterio.
don't. Yeah.
Into a whole other subject. Go on, read off your list. Go.
Well, going back to raccoons for a second,
Yeah, go on.
I suppose more now looking back on it, I like that because it had that kind of environmental twist to it.
Yes.
Oh, if you're talking environmental, you'll go Captain Planet.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, my friend.
Where the planet is.
Yeah.
You can be one too. Go on.
Planet is the thing to do.
With your powers combined.
I am Captain Planet.
There was so much in that.
Did you ever watch the episode where, because the 5th ring was heart, wasn't it?
Yes.
And did you ever watch the episode where she didn't have the heart and he was just like this plain brown sludge of a Captain Planet?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Wasn't it? He didn't have. I think he only had Earth and
He
something else.
didn't have heart. He wasn't a good guy.
Yeah. There was but it's like, have you ever seen the Don Cheadle?
Yes, it was.
Tree.
Come, Captain Planet, motherfucker.
So good. I can't believe Don Cheadle did that, but great. Yeah, that was a great show.
Yeah. Again, in watching some of the stuff back for a bit of research, I've never researched so much for a podcast.
No, it's good though.
Research.
Some of the voice actors for that show, the one I've written down, Gaia, the spirit that guided them all.
Yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Of course.
Are you serious?
Whoopi Goldberg.
No way.
One of the bad guys was Jeff Goldblum.
Wow, really?
Amazing.
It's the kind of thing you watch as a kid.
This is still Captain Planet you're talking about?
Captain Planet.
Wow.
One of the bad guys was Jeff Goldblum. All these crazy big ass voice actors. One of them was, hang on, what's his name? LeVar Burton.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I know.
Nice.
He was one of the kids.
Well, I didn't.
Geordie.
How are these massive names?
Well, I knew Jonathan
Shows?
Frakes did some for. Do you remember Gargoyles?
Yes. Yeah.
I remember it, but I didn't watch it.
Yeah, he was a voice for that. I knew that, but I didn't realise Captain Planet
when
had
Star Trek
shitloads.
Next Generation finished, they just all went to cartoons.
Yeah, I guess.
I didn't realise for a long. I mean, God, I can't even remember when I found out that Mark Hamill was the Joker from the Batman the Animated Series. I was like, didn't even cross my mind that was Luke Skywalker when I was watching it as a kid, and then finding out.
Was it actually him in the animated series?
Yeah.
I thought he only did the movies. I didn't realise he did it for the series.
No. The Batman the Animated Series and all the Arkham games. That's Mark Hamill doing the Joker.
Oh,
And it's insane. I was like, what? But he's Luke Skywalker. And there's been like, I've watched loads of behind
Clearly
the
out
scenes
of
things.
money.
Yeah. Well, no, it was just off the back of like Star Wars because he was really shocked. He wanted to do. So I like watched a lot of behind the scenes things about this show, but he originally went to do a voice for like he's a massive Batman fan. He wanted to do like Hugo Strange or Mr. Freeze or something, and he got a part in the Heart of Ice show with Mr. Freeze. He's like the bad guy who's not Mr. Freeze, who basically made Mr. Freeze in that show. Is Mark Hamill, and he did such a good job. He went and did a. They said, "Oh, what? I want to do another one." So he went there and he went, "Yeah, I want you to do the Joker," and he's like, you want Luke Skywalker to be the joke? Are you sure? And they're like, yeah. And he just went, whatever. So he just did some random laughs and everything. And then they called him back a month later going, yeah, we want you to do it. And he was like, I can't remember what I did. And he had to practice all the way to the studio with these laughs and it's the best.
Give us your best Joker laugh.
Oh, I can't, man. I'd put him to shame because I love that laugh so much.
Fun.
I don't know. Whatever he says,
he properly loves it though, Hamill, doesn't he?
Oh yeah. He stands up and he just because he said like he laughs through his teeth, talks through his teeth and like that, and stuff. And it's just great. And yeah, watching them back, how menacing it is. Like again, I've got Lex, my daughter who's 4, got her into Batman the Animated Series now, so we watch that quite a lot.
I just watched it back. Got her into it. Basically, you watched it.
And you're forced her into it.
Clockwork Orange style.
You will watch this, or you have not having any dinner. But yeah, so yeah, I've big actors that have done big. Like you never work it out as a kid, but you looking back, you're like, oh my god, they're doing loads.
Yeah, exactly. But regardless of what you say about Mark Hamill, he'll always be Cockknocker. Any more you want to plug in?
Yes, I'm going to go through these quick. Ulysses 31.
Sorry?
Heard it, never watched it.
Ulysses 31.
It sounds familiar, but I can't.
I found one that these nerds don't know.
Yeah.
It's so, again, I watched the first episode again yesterday. So good. Again, familiar concept. Kid gets lost in space basically, and it's the father's journey to try and find him. But it essentially recreates almost science fiction versions of Greek mythology.
Okay.
So you've got all kinds of crazy stuff going on, but he's literally facing up against the Greek gods at points. So he's being...
Damn, this sounds... I think I have seen this. I just can't bring it to...
He's in science fiction Hades, and it's so well made. I mean, obviously for the time, but even now it stands up. The animation is... It's pretty to look at. It's visually impressive. It's not CGI. It's not all guns blazing, but it's solid. It's consistent. The voice acting is good. The sounds are amazing, and it's a really solid script because it's based on classic Greek mythology. Yeah. It's got such a solid basis to set its scenes to, and then shoot off on these crazy, trippy, laser-inspired Pink Floyd-esque kind of things. Slightly more lighthearted, less sci-fi in a sense. The Hurricanes, the international football team.
Yes, I remember them, yeah.
Again, very strong theme tune.
Like American football thing, so there was King Arthur and the Knights of Justice.
On my list, sir. Yes. So good, yeah.
That was another great theme tune, and I quite like the concept of them being... There was a quarterback called King Arthur, or Arthur King, and his team, and they get sent back in time by Merlin to save King Arthur. Beautiful artwork, beautiful story.
It was, yeah. Great again, show. A glorious piece of art on that, yeah. And they had these cool,
great guitar riffs,
slightly modern but of the era machinery and not quite robots.
Even like magic. So like he had, was it King Arthur had the shield with the dragon on, and he just cool it, and the dragon would come out of the shield, and he would
kind of a Magitech kind of thing. Very very fun. Do you remember Galaxy High?
Yes, I was going to mention that.
Oh, cool, man, yeah.
I love Galaxy High.
I feel like I'm stealing the thunder here.
No, because we're obviously going to plug ours in and
name after name.
No, please.
Galaxy High was so fun.
So again, it was one where it was... So fun. It not just... It wasn't, artwork-wise wasn't that good, but the imagination to it. Like, having high school in space, and then all the other guys were, a generic version of what high school was, but as an alien instead. Like you had the geeky guy who was fat, had glasses, whatnot, but he had like 4-5 arms or something, didn't he?
There was absolutely zero restriction on character design. So
exactly.
There was a huge kid with all the arms. There was one kid who was so flat that they could post him. I remember they folded him up and posted him somewhere.
That's right, yes.
There was, kind of like Leela from Futurama, the one-eyed purple head, something or other.
It practically was
and
Futurama,
wasn't there just like one quote-unquote regular person that was trying to fit in with all these people?
Yeah, it was the star, wasn't it? He was like a high school quarterback guy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And then he was... I think he had a thing for one of the cheerleaders, but she had like... I don't think different words. She had a couple of antennas and funny ears, but the rest of it was like a cheerleader would look like, wasn't it? I just love how... Yeah, I think even the high school bully was like this massive alien-looking thing, but yeah, it was just... even the theme song to that was just
Galaxy.
It's so good.
Just everything's about the theme song, man. It's brilliant.
I didn't think you would know about Galaxy.
Of course, dude. Of course. I think I've hit on most of everything so far, as far as I've spoken about, all animated.
Yep.
Which was before the episode was saying at least 50% of the stuff I can remember watching, or more than 50% of the stuff I can remember watching, was cartoons of some description rather than the live action stuff, because that was what was about at that point. I think slightly later on, and I think, Anthony, you're going to kind of tie into this, how it kind of evolved.
Yeah, so later on I'm just going to explain about how it kind of went to less animated, more live action, but we'll plug in a couple more things that people could remember, and then we'll move on to that in a sec. Have you got any more you want to jump in?
No, I think we've mentioned the ones on my list. Simon's done a very good job.
Yeah, sorry.
Bar the ones. So you mentioned one on my top 5. The others are safe.
Yeah, I don't think any I'm going to mention
So
are in anyone's top 5. But growing up from when I was a kid, so we'll start with Fraggle Rock onto Thomas the Tank Engine.
Okay,
And then there was obviously, I don't know if you remember, it was either on a Saturday or Sunday morning, was the Disney Club. And they would show stuff like DuckTales, Chip and Dale.
Oh, yeah. Rescue Rangers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Obviously, Gummy Bears. And then, obviously, Simon has filled in with the rest that I kind of watched as well. But does anyone remember Gravedale High?
No.
So Gravedale High was practically Galaxy High.
But zombies.
But with monsters, zombies. So, the high school quarterback was a vampire. The dumbass was a Frankenstein. Rick Moranis was the teacher.
Oh, sweet.
And he did the voice and everything.
I am sold.
Yeah, it was so good.
Oh, well, Count Duckula.
Count Duckula's good. Yeah, Count Duckula, Trapdoor.
Oh, I should have mentioned Trapdoor.
Yeah.
Not animation, but
There's something
Plasticine.
down there.
And before Wallace and Gromit, there was a show, and it was Trapdoor.
Feed me.
Stay away from that trapdoor.
Incredibly simple show. Loved it as a kid. Watching it now, you're like, I mean, it's not that I don't understand the appeal, but I don't quite remember why I loved
Bright
it.
colours.
So
It was though.
it was essentially that. Yeah, it had a talking skull and it had these mashable, moldable, plasticine, brightly coloured red and blues, and it just went, yeah, cool, I'm in.
And the thing is that the episodes weren't exactly long either, were they? They were like 5-10 minutes, if that.
Yeah, minutes long.
Yeah, I think I had a video of that. I remember one episode where the trapdoor got left open and all the monsters came out. And I think there was another one where he went into the trapdoor to find something and he went through all these cliffs and mountains, and that's pretty much all I remember. That
but it used to bug me that they were so short. And, you know, when you look into filmmaking and stuff, it took them like nearly 5 weeks to make one episode. Because it's all, you know, take the shot, move the animation.
Stop motion,
it's
stop
everything.
motion is long.
What else is there? I mentioned Count Duckula. Does anyone remember Captain Nintendo or Captain N at all?
No.
It's about a kid that played Nintendo, got sucked into the game, and he had all the other characters from Nintendo games as sidekicks. Like Kid Icarus was the angel that flew.
Okay.
He had Simon Belmont from Castlevania. I think Mega Man shows up at one point as well.
So this is like an old school Wreck-It Ralph almost.
Yeah, technically, yeah. It was, obviously pre-Nintendo era as well for it. And there's another one which was very, I think it's early 90s, early mid-90s, very toy-orientated, Mighty Max.
Yes,
I do remember Mighty Max.
Mighty Max, anyone remember them? I've still actually got a couple of their toys as well.
Have you? No.
Yeah, seriously.
So, no one put my... There was a cartoon, I remember I had a couple of toys of it, called James Bond Jr.
Yeah, James Bond Jr. I remember that.
That was a great cartoon.
It was really good, actually.
It was like James Bond's
son or something.
nephew, I think his nephew, and he was at university.
Probably one of his bastard sons.
There's bound to be some out there.
Again, another great theme tune. But yeah, he would like go on these little missions, and he'd had this sort of because he was in like a university dorm, and his roommate was like this geek who made loads of inventions, kind of like Q.
Okay,
it was great. That was a great show.
Definitely.
I think Charlie Higson ended up writing books in a similar vein, didn't he? About either a young James Bond or a spin-off of that kind of era.
Yeah.
Interesting. But no, I don't remember that
another
cartoon at all. Interesting.
There's just so many keep popping into my head. It's amazing.
Well, we mentioned before we started recording, and no one said anything yet, so I'm going to bring up what I feel is the classic quartet of Jerry Anderson. So you've got Stingray, Joe 90.
Yep.
I ended up absolutely loving.
Yeah, that's the kid that put the glasses on and he was a genius or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, they could essentially give him different personalities.
That's
so
right.
They could instill within his brain pattern this crazy idea of being someone else, and then he could infiltrate and go and be some secret agent somewhere. very cool idea watching as a kid.
Yeah,
And
it
he's
was,
in this,
totally, yeah.
this spinning globe thing, and then suddenly he's a totally different person. And then obviously you've got the two main, well, from my opinion anyway, Captain Scarlet and Thunderbirds.
Yes.
I always prefer Captain Scarlet personally.
Me too. I friggin' love Captain Scarlet.
It's kind of sinister.
Very.
Which I mean, to say that a kids show made with puppets in the 70s could be sinister.
But it's a guy killing himself every episode as well. It's just,
well, there is that.
it's like, I'll fall into this pit of snakes so you can escape. Don't you worry. But did it piss you off that you never saw the Mysterons?
Just around circles.
That's what it was. 2 circles. And then it infuriated me so much as a kid.
This is the voice of the Mysteron.
That's it.
I wonder if that's any relation to The Prisoner, because he never saw... I don't know, actually. Did you ever
Wasn't that
see
the one with the big bubble that chases him?
Yeah. For some reason, that's just popped into my head, and I had a feeling that you never saw, like, number 1 in that. And I wondered if it's a similar kind of thing. Like, you never... Because you don't want to reveal the big bad. You want to threaten the big bad and never actually... But, potentially never get to it.
But it's like you saying about Captain Scarlet. I'm a huge fan of the reboot of Battlestar Galactica. If you've never watched the TV series, I highly recommend it. How it completely changed the original campy 70s Battlestar and made it, if it was real, very dark. And I reckon they should do that with Captain Scarlet. I would love Captain Scarlet to be like done live action. Because if you think about it, the theme of it is quite nasty, And, Captain Black used to scare the shit out of me. He was a freaky... Is it Agent Black or Captain Black?
Oh, actually, it might be Agent Black. It's been a long time since
he's possessed, isn't he? Yeah.
But
they can modernise it massively. It'd be awesome.
Absolutely. They should do.
Even make a comic book series out of it. That'd be good.
Yeah. I'd be up for that.
Yeah,
totally.
definitely. Because I know they did Thunderbirds they did that live action film.
Yes,
it was okay. And then they've done the CGI.
Well, you don't like the busted song?
I love the busted. The busted song's the best thing about that film.
We mentioned that for the episode, guys. Sorry.
That's like the best thing about the film. But also the sort of design of the ships was quite cool as well. But then like the upgrade of the Thunderbirds to the CGI, I was like well looking forward to. I was like, it's gonna be awesome. And it was all right, but it didn't really. I don't know. It didn't hold up to the classic. Just how cool the Thunderbirds were.
I remember when the movie came out for Thunderbird. Well, they were making it at the time, and then obviously it was just like pre-internet days. You couldn't get your information off the internet. You had to get it off of a newspaper or a magazine. And I remember when I think it was in the Sun newspaper, they announced Ben Kingsley was going to play the Hood. I'm like, oh my god, that's going to be fucking amazing. His eyes are going to glow and whatnot. And then obviously there was the movie. So. Yeah.
It was just weird the concept they took of making it was Alan, wasn't it? Alan a kid. When in the show they were all like brothers of similar age, so that the mum must have had.
And then there's this other kid who's never been a Thunderbird. Like, who is this guy?
Yeah, he's just like, I want to do it. And he's like, what? Why?
Who are you?
Make them just do it like it was in the show. There was no.
Or as we say in the wrestling industry, a jobber.
The best bit for me, though, I think every episode for Thunderbirds was them getting to the ship.
Oh yeah, the inventive way to get to the ships is amazing.
The pictures turning around, the walls sliding apart.
Very Batman-esque, isn't it?
Yeah, very. Yeah,
the slides and they get somewhere and then they would turn and they drop further down and the swimming pool would retreat.
Sometimes I would just watch the episode up until that point and turn it off. I just love that bit. It's just it. It was so good.
Which of you made Tracy Island?
Or from the Blue Peter one?
I had Tracy Island.
Oh, I
actually had the thing.
I'm a spoiled only child, so I had Tracy Island as well.
Yeah, okay. I don't have it anymore, but I still do actually have the other Thunderbirds, apart from 5. Because 4 always came with 2, didn't it?
Yeah,
so,
it was inside the little pod, wasn't it? I've got the little box set of the metal ships. I've got that somewhere in the loft. Yeah.
I always thought 3 was really cool because it had that versatility of loading up with a different cargo each time.
That was the rocket, right?
That was 2.
Oh, was it 2? The big green.
2's the red rocket that went up, yeah.
No, wait, 3's the red rocket.
3's the red rocket. 2 was the...
I had 2 and 3 back to front there.
Yeah.
And number 1 was like the scout ship that went out and was like, we need a pod 3 to sort this stuff out. It was like, okay, let's go.
Yeah. So he kind of went on every mission, really, apart from any space ones.
Yeah,
Scott. He's the guy who did fuck all. He's just bring this over Virgil. Virgil did the rest.
He got there first. I was like, right, we need you to do to get pod 5. Do the stuff. Okay, I'm just going to sit here on my little red thing.
Just wait
for you to get that done.
So we've done hand-drawn, cel-shaded animation. We've done stop-motion animation. We've done puppeteering. The first full CGI cartoon.
I know where you're going to go with this.
Reboot.
Yes!
I love Reboot.
It was so... Reboot! When you touch the thing, wasn't it?
So good.
It was so good.
The idea of all of these characters within a computer, all moving at nano speed essentially, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
So
you look back at it now, though, it's dog shit.
Well,
but for its time, it was amazing.
It
yes,
was on the top end, 1992 or whatever.
Mid 90s.
But very, very cool. And I'm not a fan of that kind of animation now because it looks incredibly plastic, I suppose, is the way I describe it.
Yeah, very rubbery as well, sort of thing.
Who was the main character? He was like an agent who, when the big dome...
The agent with dreadlocks.
Yeah, Cube came in. He'd have to go in and try and win the game.
Yeah, that'd be the kind of conceit of each episode, is that something would happen that would destabilize their system, and normally it would be the user outside of their world loading a computer game, and you'd have to go a bit like Tron, I suppose.
Yes.
You'd then have to go in and play or fight in this game to save their system. But then there was also... Was it Megabyte, I want to say, was the big bad within the system.
There was a female bad guy that was quite scary looking.
Some kind of witch type
face
thing.
Would keep changing to like really scarily smiling.
Almost like a porcelain face that then spun around or glitched over. Oh man, that was a good show.
A damn good show. Again, I don't remember that lasting very long either.
Again, Toy Galaxy covered that. I watched that recently.
Did you?
Honestly, not even related to this podcast. I just started I just sort of clicked on one, and then you just kept going up with all the other ones they've done. I was like, oh my god,
the algorithm it gets you.
The history of like blah blah, the history of this, history of that. I was like, oh my god, I'll just listen to them all. It's really interesting.
That shows how invested we were at these things in these things as kids, because you will just now at 30 years later go, of course I'll sit here for 20 minutes and watch some other guy talk about
the history.
And thank you guys for also indulging us, listening to us talk about these things, because
stole drove.
But I hope people are being like, oh god, I remember that. So hopefully this is going to work. Were any of you two affected by the Sky Cable era? When kids shows roughly then were out?
No, I didn't get. I think I got Sky when I moved out. Like my parents was never really into Sky. I didn't watch much TV.
I still don't have Sky. I have nothing but what's available through. Well, it's digital now, but
yeah, of course.
Just what was on ITV, BBC. That's what I grew up with, and then whatever you had on VHS or you.
Because we had my family got Sky in 93, I believe, 93, 92, and that's when a whole nother world of kid shows came out, because there were Sky's own ones at the time, like what Stu would probably mention later, any X-Men's and what's the other one? Spider-Man and all that stuff. And then Power Rangers came out, and I sat through maybe the whole first season, which was 60-odd episodes, not realising that anyone that had terrestrial TV had to wait another year for it.
I remember. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I think was it Power Rangers one of the ones I had to rush home from school to watch in the afternoons, or was it a morning one? But I
had a feeling Power Rangers was a Saturday morning, or at least for me, it was a Saturday morning.
In the summer, they brought it was in the mornings, definitely. And then I think when it went to school era, back to school September wise, it went to school time.
Yeah, because it was Power Rangers and VR Troopers, like back to back.
VR Troopers.
We are VR.
Back to Troopers. And now they've like I know you guys spoke about on the gaming podcast about the Power Rangers board game, which I've got, and like the comic book that goes with that. Oh my god, it's amazing!
I mentioned you on that episode.
I listened. It was very good. It's very interesting. But yeah, definitely.
I plugged you, mate. Don't worry.
As ostensibly stupid as Power Rangers is, it has one of the most persistent fandoms.
Hey, it's still going now
for such a crazy show.
There's actually a new season coming out next year with a new. I think it's called like Dino Nights or something.
They've definitely done a Dino, like a very heavily Dino theme, because what I call the original one, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, was quite Dino themed as well. But the current, that newest one is definitely even heavier.
Oh crap! That was the other ones I wanted to mention. Do you remember? Sorry, we're going back a bit, folks. Does anyone remember Dino Riders?
I do, in the sense that I have one toy. Yeah. And I think maybe a tiny comic that came with it. I don't remember actually watching the cartoon though.
No, I don't. I've heard of it. It had a cool theme tune because it was on like the top 10 80s theme tunes I watched once, but I never watched the actual.
And again, it's that crazy crossover of sci-fi and mystic, wasn't it?
And another one is the Inhumanoids. Don't know if that mentions. It's practically Transformers, but biological, if you will. It was so fucked up for a kids show. Again, I think it lasted 7 episodes, because it was like these big monsters that that put you into their belly, and then it starts dissolving you away and whatnot. And look it up in Humanoids, and this was like pushed by Hasbro. These were the guys that had Transformers in their pocket as well, and they're like, well, let's make Transformers biological, and let's make it scary as well.
Man, that's fucked up. I'm just looking at pictures here.
Have you seen it there?
Check that.
Yeah, I don't remember that. That's scary.
That looks like the melted reject of Power Ranger toys.
If you ever know, obviously, if you go on YouTube quite a bit, if you ever look up the Angry Video Game Nerd,
yes,
he does an episode on it completely, and his reaction to it is phenomenal. I think it's like a 5-minute episode. Watch it, give it a go. It's really good. But yeah, sorry. Going back to
I now want to watch Inhumanoids because it looks dumb fun.
It's amazing. The toys for it were phenomenal, but again, it's definitely not what they should have plugged to kids at the time. So going back to the question I was saying, I'm going to try and put in another question with it. So with the Sky area, cable area, if you had the other two or not, did you feel like the animated stuff had sort of been pushed aside and we got to more live action stuff? So you had like your kids' game shows, you had stuff like Saved by the Bell and all that were coming in, and then did you kind of sway that way as well?
Yeah,
to more live action stuff?
Yeah, kind of 93, 94 onwards, I'd say, and the whole next section of my list, essentially, that I've not got yet is more of the live action, moving away from the animated stuff. I don't know if that's just what was being broadcast at the time and it already existed and we just weren't aware of it, or whether there was a kind of shift in production. Maybe.
No, I think you're right. I mean, the only bar like Batman the Animated Series and Spider-Man stuff that was on during the weekends, every other show, like you say, was live action. Even the stuff when you got home from school, you had sort of whole kids' TV up to News Round, Blue Peter kind of stuff. That even started
Biker Grove.
Biker Grove, yeah. You started going on to like, was it the Demon Headmaster? Shows like that, rather than cartoons.
Classic.
Yeah. And
Woof. Do you remember Woof?
Yeah. Brum.
Yep.
Car, all that kind of stuff.
From the car.
All that kind of stuff. But that was all, as you say, it was all live action stuff. So like cartoons got very sort of pushed to the side. So what's your list? What else have we got on your list?
Well, yeah, you mentioned a few. I've kind of separated these out into UK versus US.
No, that's fine, because,
just because it made more sense in my head to kind of section them off a bit, because I thought it'd be kind of fun. So you just mentioned Biker Grove. So there's kind of the build-up. You kind of had, I'm thinking of what became known as the CBBC section. I think it's around 3:30 through to 5:30. Before
Neighbours.
The after school area.
Yeah, because then it was like Neighbours, and then to 6 o'clock, and then you flip over to Channel 2, and it's either The Adventures of Superman and Star Trek. Is what I used to watch.
That's right,
to like 7:30, and then it was pretty much bed.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it.
For sure. It was like that. It was the whole evening.
And at some point, you resent having homework, and so you'd have the kind of shorter show. So I don't know who to look at here when I say the name Bodger and Badger.
Yeah, Bodger and Badger.
Nice.
So good. A man and his badger who loves sausages and mashed potato. What's not to love? There's some creative shows. You had stuff like Art Attack with Neil Buchanan.
This is an art attack. This is an art attack.
And this is heart
attack. There was another creative show called Smart, I think.
Yes, I remember that.
Which again, it kind of
showed your stuff and showed you how to do things.
Yeah. What about How? Remember that? How for Now? Was it
How To?
How To? Yeah. How To. It had the three guys.
Fred Dinage, Carol Vorderman, and
other guy.
the blonde-haired guy.
The other one.
And they had a really cool studio because the entire thing was a white backdrop that was floor and wall merged together. So they just looked like they were on, like floating in this set. That was so cool.
Yeah, teaching you stuff.
Yeah, and I guess there's still shows out there that do similar kind of things. I've no idea.
Not as good though.
I don't. It didn't.
Do they though? Because I think people just look to YouTube for that shit now.
I think the majority probably is that. Yeah, more oriented in that fashion.
Yeah.
But what I liked about How To is they didn't pander to kids. They made it simple enough to understand, but it wasn't talking down to them. Same with Blue Peter was always reasonably straightforward. They weren't doing silly voices or anything.
Absolutely.
It was just talking.
Like City and Sweep and stuff.
City and Sweep. Oh, hang on. We haven't mentioned Rainbow.
I was hoping we would avoid that one, but...
everyone see that classic clip on YouTube when they're talking about Bungles?
About everyone's twangers.
Oh, hello, Bungle. Good stuff.
But you look back on half the stuff and you imagine, how does he get away with it? I mean...
Well, I don't think that that Rainbow thing ever went to air.
But no, wasn't there... what's Captain Pugwash and whatnot? Masturbates and semen stains or something?
They had a lot of kind of innuendo they got away with. They took a lot of drugs in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah. Moving on.
Of a certain kind. There's another one that's slightly later called It'll Never Work.
I don't remember that one.
Again, it was a kind of science-based show, but for kids. So they had a reporter out in Japan who'd go and talk to guys making whatever the forefront of Japanese technology at that point was. And Murphy's Law being not Murphy's Law. The law of the things, computer speed doubles every 18 months. So go back 30 years as we are, we're talking like the difference between now and an iPhone 60 kind of thing. Like super advanced seemingly at the time. So watching it as a kid, it's a bit like Tomorrow's World, but more kid-oriented with these wacky inventions.
Tomorrow's World. I forgot about that show as well.
Yeah, well, I didn't
put it on the list. Was that a kid show, though?
I wouldn't say
that was a 7 p.m. show. So
that was 7 p.m. But
decidedly outside of the...
Right.
But yeah, it's cool, kind of cool concept. But so they made Tomorrow's World, but fun and exciting for kids. So that was It'll Never Work. You mentioned Biker Grove and Grange Hill. They were like the two epic drama
But that
shows.
was, I think, because Grange Hill sort of finished and then Biker Grove came in, didn't it? I don't know if it was like the newer Grange Hill, if you will.
Did like a season of... Because I wasn't really familiar with the concept of a season of a show.
No, I thought it was just a continuous thing.
Yeah.
Power Rangers on TV.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Right? The cartoons are on. There's always a cartoon on.
If it's on, it's still going, yeah. Even if it was a rerun.
So I was always excited for the new thing, but I didn't ever think, where's the old thing gone?
No, of course
because
not,
it was the end of the season that had been produced. It was just... So I think they did a season of Biker Grove and then they did a season of Grange Hill.
Oh, right, okay.
And they kind of interspersed them. Perhaps, okay. I don't know. But.
Smart.
Well, I thought two more. Get Your Own Back.
Yep.
Remember that one?
With Dave Benson Phillips.
Getting their own back on those. The parents or the teachers? I can't remember.
Both.
Just slime everywhere. Slime.
Pure slime. I mean, where did they get it from? What was it made of?
I don't know.
But even if the teachers or parents won, they still got gunked. It was there's no way out regardless.
I mean, this is a super ridiculous analytical nerd thing for me to think of, but there'll have been some production company somewhere that will have made an absolute mint from supplying brightly coloured slime to the BBC for 8 years.
Do you remember Noah's House Party?
I was literally about to say that, yeah.
That had shitloads of gunk in it as well. Slime everything. It's just like, they just don't have that now. Oh, actually, no, my little... I don't know if you've seen it on Netflix. There's a show called Floor is Lava.
Yes, yeah.
And it's kind of like that now, but...
That is hilarious that when someone falls in, they have to pretend they actually died.
The thing is, though, they're so funny.
No!
Yeah, it's so stupid. It's like, if you were in a real-life situation, there's no way you would do those stupid things that you were doing, but... Yeah, sorry, carry on.
No, man, that's all good. I mean, it's all a good reminiscent nostalgia.
Absolutely.
I literally turned my lounge into a Floor is Lava course the other day for Lex. Which Grace was not very happy about.
Anything to get him through lockdown.
Exactly, man.
Have you got another one? You said you had two.
I can't remember the other one is now.
So we'll come back.
Yeah.
Was it perhaps... wait, I don't know if... this is possibly getting into top 5 territory here.
Okay.
Well, there's the two with the Fs, the game shows.
No, go on, it's not mine. No,
Okay.
no, go.
Funhouse?
Yeah.
We had Funhouse, a whole lot of fun with prizes to be won.
Yep.
The twins. The twins.
The twins and Pat's mullet.
I mean, he must have had them, right?
By far, bro.
It was a power mullet and a half, wasn't it?
By
Pat Sharp's mullet.
Now, did you watch it for the Funhouse itself or the go-karting?
Go-karting. Again, loads of slime in that.
I thought the go-karting was cool, but I always wanted to go in the end Funhouse bit with the slides and the rope swings and the ball pits. And
they had some pretty good prizes back then as well.
Yeah.
It did. I remember watching one pair of kids fail on the final question.
Oh, man.
I don't know why this is always stuck in my head, but the question was name the 3 emergency services. And I think they got like 10 seconds to confer, and then they turned back to Pat and they said, fire, correct. Ambulance, correct. The AA.
The A, okay.
You what? I mean, to be fair,
maybe one of the dads was an alcoholic.
Well, I think it's because at the time the AA were advertising on TV as the 4th emergency service.
Shit.
So these kids lost half their prizes because they didn't say police.
There used to be some great prizes. Like Finders Keepers.
Find Screws was the other one.
Like that was like another massive one that you won loads of prizes.
Yeah.
And who hosted that?
Neil Buchanan.
It was Mr. Buchanan, wasn't it?
He must have been minted back in those days.
I was thinking that earlier.
So much money. And then he did Zap when he was the artist in Zap.
That was the comic book that came alive, wasn't it?
You know, the guy's in the blue cloak and he's like, to draw stuff. That was Neil Buchanan as well.
Oh, okay. If I'm remembering the right thing, Zap was the...
It's like the big comic book, and it had different people coming
and
out
you
of
went
it.
into the section, and it would do a story from that section, wouldn't it?
That whole show was designed for deaf kids.
Oh, was it really?
Because if you watch Big Back, there's no dialogue.
They don't talk. Yeah, exactly.
It's all just visual.
Yeah,
which I thought was a really
true.
cool thing.
Wow, I never knew that it was for deaf kids. That's really good.
I didn't at the time, but it's something I found out later on. I thought that was a damn good idea.
Just found out now. That's brilliant.
Very cool. There's a couple more on my British TV things that I watched. I'm pretty sure one of them is on the list. So I'll mention the other one, and this show was very fun and had, again, some very famous people in. Maid Marian and Her Merry Men.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was well good.
God, that show was so cool. It took the obvious thing,
That was like a prequel to Blackadder.
Yeah, I was going to say he's got ahead a few guys from Blackadder, didn't it?
He's got a bit of a Blackadder comedy to it, like kids comedy to it, I think.
Well, you say prequel, Blackadder was older than we realised.
Oh, true.
It's one of those shows that you think, when you're watching it, it's new, but we were probably watching reruns of Blackadder when we watched it for the first time.
What's his name? The guy who plays Baldrick? Tom Robinson?
Tony Robinson.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, true, because when he was in Maid Marian, he was older than when he was Baldrick. Yeah, true.
Yeah. Maid Marian took the concept of Robin Hood and went, Robin Hood's a complete oaf, a total nitwit. So Maid Marian was quite hot from what I remember.
Yeah, no, it was a good show.
And just this badass female lead character of Maid Marian who put the Sheriff of Nottingham to rights every week. What was his nephew? He had some... Was it Gilbert or...
Oh, God, I can't remember now.
Yeah, I remember.
Something beginning with G.
Useless guy.
Yeah, and he had this terrible, cringy haircut. And obviously wearing the classic tights, but it just made my skin crawl. And he had some weird... Did he have a lisp or something? He
had a really high voice now. I think I remember him having like a little kiddie high voice.
Kind of terrifying to watch, but... And I can't mention the other classic British TV show because I'm almost certain it's on one of your lists.
Okay. So, mention it at the end after the top 5 if we haven't.
Does it begin with a K?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, yes, so don't talk about it.
Okay. Okay, so I'm working towards it.
Shut the fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I've got more, but it's a different section. I really feel like I'm overtaking this episode.
No. I'll plug in a couple because you guys obviously did the Sky era. So, because we had stuff like Nickelodeon. So I don't know if you guys ever saw it, but there was Are You Afraid of the Dark, which is about a group of kids that always were around a campfire and they would tell a ghost story. And it was very pre-Goosebumps.
I was thinking it sounds Goosebumps, or maybe Tales from the Crypt.
That's right, yeah. So it was exactly. It was exactly what it was. And obviously there was Goosebumps after that. Disney Channel had Boy Meets World. I think you've mentioned that before.
Yeah, remember that.
Is it in your... World. Is it in your... It's not in your top 5, is it?
It is.
Shit, I'm sorry. Damn it. Sorry.
We'll discuss that more later.
And it's got we've already mentioned Gargoyle, so that's all.
Boy Meets World always reminds me that it's not even linked in any way, but I always think about Home Improvements when I think about Boy Meets World. Tim, that's not in top 5.
Home Improvement isn't in the top 5, but very much. I have the same kind of tie in my head. It's
I don't know why, but
that American Family sitcom kind of deal.
I felt that Boy Meets World was more child orientated than Home Improvement was. Home Improvement was something you would watch with the family, not directly aimed at kids. So I felt Boy Meets World was a bit more towards the child.
Yeah, definitely agreed. Home Improvement was like fully accessible for all. Had a fairly young cast. They had the 3 boys in there. I have got it on my list. Similar vein was Clarissa Explains It All.
Yeah,
if you guys remember that with Melissa Joan Hart.
Yeah, the one who plays Sabrina.
Yeah, that was a Nickelodeon one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Sabrina. Yes, she was, wasn't she?
She's in they're on. I was watching a lot of Big Bang on E4 at the moment. She's in another show called like Melissa and
Joey. Yeah,
she's not very good in that show. I was like watching it going, it's really overacted. She's really overacting. She's been an actress since she was a kid. How is she doing this so badly?
Probably a big gap between.
I don't remember Sabrina the Teenage Witch being that bad.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch was lovingly clumsy in part, I love. It's one of my favorite. It didn't make the top 5, but I absolutely love Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and I will not lie. And I also will not lie and say that. It's partly because that was when I was getting slightly older and I started taking an interest in girls. So watching a show with someone like Melissa Joan Hart in it. She was like
the hot aunts as well, man.
Super early crush for me, and still now.
Hot aunts.
Yes,
they were like the aunts were
always hot.
But I think Melissa and Joey is produced by Melissa Joan Hart. So she's essentially just...
even if she fails, she still gets paid.
She's playing herself,
yeah,
pretty much.
She's doing what most people would dream of, dicking around, playing herself, oafing about and getting paid for it. So why not?
Good work.
So did you ever get... no, sorry, I'll ask that later. Is there ever a show you look back now and think to yourself, why the hell did I ever sit through that? This is so stupid now.
Good question.
That is a good question.
Do you think, I was like, man, this is so cheesy. Why did I ever get into this? Why did I ever like it as a kid?
I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there's definitely a few I watched as a kid and I watch back now. I was like, oh, it's really cool. And I'll try and get someone else to watch it, and they'll be like, it sucks. And I'm like, it's not quite as good as I remember. But I can give you an example of that.
Yeah, I think part of it...
Sorry, it's kind of on the spot, really, wasn't it?
No. I mean, it's a good question. I think... Thankfully, I tend to remember the stuff I love. And I've probably continued in some part either by buying box sets or finding on YouTube, occasionally watch some of those episodes and still get great enjoyment from it. So I'm less likely to go back and watch something that I maybe don't remember as fondly.
Yeah.
There's nothing that massively jumps out as me.
It's hard to think of it, isn't it? Because
do you have an example, Ant?
Well, no, because I was going to say... merely on the cheesy side of it is something like Captain Planet.
Oh yeah,
like you look at that now and you think to yourself, Jesus, why did I ever like this? But again, still catchy tune, still great animation, whatnot. But you think to yourself like, like I think some of actually when I was mentioning Real Ghostbusters, like I showed it in front of my daughter, and because she's so obviously with today's standards of animation, she was looking at it going, Dad, what's so good about this?
Nostalgic.
Yeah, exactly. Like every time Slimer came on screen, she loved Slimer, but apart from that, she was just like, I don't get the fascination, really, Dad. What, But again, nothing. It was a bit of a hard question because I can't really think of any other examples. But
there's undoubtedly stuff that we invested more time in than we would if we had the choice that we have now. But because we had the 3 to 5 p.m. slot on either ITV or on BBC, and then you had the Saturday morning, and that was essentially it, unless you had Sky.
Yeah.
You kind of watched what was on. There was rarely something that I didn't want to watch, and it was sometimes a clash of, I hope that Art Attack finishes on time because I need to switch over and watch.
Yeah, I remember, Live and Kicking S.M.T.V. You had, but before S.M.T.V. there was like a...
It was Live and Kicking.
No, yeah, it was
BBC.
On ITV, What's Up, Doc? I think it's something like that. It was like a WB themed type thing.
I was saying this to someone yesterday. What was the one that PJ and Duncan hosted?
That was SMTV.
That was SMTV. I swear there was something before that.
I swear, I don't know why, but I think it was called What's Up, Doc, because it had like lots of Warner Brothers cartoons on it, but that had Batman animated series on it. But then on Live and Kicking, you had X-Men and Spider-Man. So it was very much, I think it was like, I can't remember what order it was. There was something like X-Men was on, then you flicked over to Channel 3, Batman was on, then you flicked back to Live and Kicking, then Spider-Man was on.
Yeah,
so
got like if you need the toilet or anything.
Yeah. And you just record them on the VHS, so you can watch them all back. I was like, but yeah.
I've still got a ridiculous stack of VHS at my mum's house that I've never collected of stuff recorded off TV.
Really?
I appreciate it.
Probably some classic cartoons on there as well as...
We need to go through that.
Mostly wrestling, I'll be honest.
I've definitely got a few VHSs full of like the Batman and Spider-Man stuff that I just used to as soon as it started, you like hit record and you stop it at the end all the time.
And occasionally,
if it was ever on ITV, you had to be there to pause the recording so you didn't get the adverts in.
Well, I was just going to say, occasionally you wouldn't, and then you'd get if you choose to watch it back now, you see the adverts from 1994, and like, oh wow, I forgot that was a product, or that was how they were selling that, or
Clear Pepsi. What the hell? I mean, the other stuff I'm going to say will probably come up in the top 5. So do you guys just want to go into that?
Ooh.
I will have one question for you after that as well. So
okay, I've got a couple of other mentions.
Yeah, go for that then.
Before we go. Much more recent, relatively speaking, and I've been watching some episodes of this recently because it's rerunning somewhere. Malcolm in the Middle.
Yes.
Oh, God, yeah, I was watching that. I've watched that recently.
That show is top-notch. and I will argue that to the end of time.
Yeah.
It is
Walter White, man.
so clever, so damn for as absolutely idiotic as it is. The dynamic of that show with the four brothers, as you say, you've got Hal, the dad, who became
Walter White.
Jane can never remember how to pronounce your surname. Sorry, as the neurotic, overbearing mother.
No, man, she was mental in every episode, wasn't she?
Watching it when you're younger, you're like, oh my God, I'm glad my mum isn't quite that crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some crazy, but not quite that. Watching it now, I'm like, oh, that's actually quite a strong performance to be able to be that intense and not just crack up constantly. And I'm sure they obviously do at times crack up, but it's quite an undertaking for that combination of, because the youngest kid was like 6, I think.
Yes.
All the way up to the older.
Malcolm
18,
was the
19.
middle kid, wasn't he?
Malcolm in the middle. Yeah.
Literally,
His older brother Reese was technically younger as an actor, which I always found quite interesting.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Frankie Muniz was older than
the
older brother.
There was another show called The Middle as well, wasn't there? I swear there's another show called The Middle, which is about a family as well.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know one. Okay, there's definitely The Middle. There's a middle, and the daughter's called Meg. I definitely watched it.
Shut up, Meg. The other one I must mention. Actually, I'm surprised. Or no, maybe it's a list one.
Go on, because I spoiled one of yours, so go for it.
No, it's fine. I'm going to mention an Australian.
Oh, I know you're going to go with this.
Go on then.
Is it Round the Bend?
Round the twist.
Round the twist, sorry.
Have you ever
felt like this?
Yeah. A strange thing.
That was such a weird program. What about like Erie in Indiana as well?
I was about to mention that, you bastards.
That was the one I held back on.
Because it's not in my top 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was another random. I mean, I can't even remember what it was about, other than it was like a street.
Just an eerie town that everything happened in an episode, and he always collected the evidence at the end to prove it happened.
Yes, he had like souvenirs.
Yeah,
and
there
stuff.
was in Erie, Indiana. There was one kid who was convinced that something was going weird with the town, and he was trying to find evidence of it. And every time he was foiled by whatever plot was going on. Similar kind of thing in Round the Twist is that it was a quote unquote stereotypical town, just regular people, and then something slightly weird always happened every episode.
Yeah, so the family lived in like a lighthouse or
in Round the Twist, it was the lighthouse.
Yeah. I don't know why, but stuck in my head moment is there was some sort of episode where for some reason the kid in it like had a peeing competition against the wall with someone, and he just peed over the top of this wall because this creature did something to him. Yep, random. I was like, that was the most random thing ever, but that's what's popping into my head.
I think that might have inspired me and a childhood friend to do the same kind of thing.
Nice.
Apologies to the cleaner in my middle school.
Just in case you're listening.
We definitely got above the urinal.
Wow.
Most of the way up the wall.
That's nice. That's good work.
Yeah, I realised I'd forgotten. I had actually put, spoiler alert, put Round the Twist in my top 5.
Oh, okay.
No, okay.
But I'm happy.
So that's 2 down now.
No, I'm happy to have had it in there.
I do a quick swap over there.
Yeah, it was a Mr. Gribble was the guy who was constantly trying to buy the lighthouse from this family to set it up as some kind of a tourist attraction or something. But it belonged to this twist. I think they were called the Twist, which is possibly why it was Round the Twist.
I don't know why I thought it was called Round the Bend.
But they always had some little kind of, like a kid's kind of plot to foil his nefarious scheme. But then they'd go on these wacky side adventures where weird magic stuff happened. They found like an opal in the ocean because it was obviously the lighthouse next to the ocean. And this opal gave them powers, and I think they could create a double of themselves. And one episode that always sticks out in my mind is something called the Yuckles.
Yeah, okay.
Which were yellow mushroom kind of things that they found out in the woods, and they would mimic other things. So I remember it mimicked his BMX.
Okay.
So they started riding off in the BMX, but after...
It's starting to sound like a Doctor Who episode, really, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah. And then after a few minutes, it exploded. It just covered them, again, back to the slime. It covered them in almost custard-type stuff, and it was just a super engaging show.
Yeah, absolutely.
There were I seem to remember 2 brothers, or maybe it was just a brother and the sister. And just at the right age, I found the sister incredibly attractive.
Yeah, another reason to watch it, mate.
So, yeah, really good fun. I made a couple of notes. It started in 1990, and there were 4 seasons of it.
Nice. So. You could have saved this for the top 5, this info.
Well, I thought, as I was already on it.
That's fine. No, that's fine.
That was number 4, and I will...
Just a quick mention for me is, again, if you had Sky early era, would be The Simpsons. Simpsons early years as well were the best, and unfortunately it got worse as it went along. But did you guys ever have the same sort of situation with any of your shows, that it got worse as it went along at all?
I say like Family Guy's done the same thing.
Yeah, definitely. Family Guy got too serious towards after season 10 or what.
I don't think I got that far. I think it was after the time, spoilers, that he actually killed Lois, and then
it was
wanting to brag. Yeah,
victory is mine.
Yeah, then it like linked in with American Dad, which was really cool. Yeah, then I stopped watching.
Did that crossover? Yeah. Nothing springs to mind, but again, without sitting and watching it back.
There's a lot of shows as a kid. Like I say, a lot of the ones I'm going to mention that I watched maybe 3 or 4 as a kid, and I was like, "It's my best show ever." And then until I was older, watched some of them I haven't even watched every episode of, so I couldn't tell you if it was going to get worse because I haven't watched them all. But
no, that's true. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
right, so
your ability to critique as a child doesn't really exist.
Just awesome.
No, true.
It's just awesome.
It's partly that it was what was on, so you watch it.
Yeah, it was just
and it's generally just, as I said, for the first probably
what
felt like the first 2 hours of this podcast, me just listing off cartoons with lasers in. And I'm like, has it got dinosaurs? Has it got ghosts? Has it got lasers?
That's definitely why I like dinosaurs now. From this show,
has it got robots in it? All done. So yeah, any more plugs? If not, we'll go to the top 5.
Good. Let's get in it.
Top 5.
It's time for a top 5.
All right, would anyone like to go first?
Well, my 5th one's already been mentioned, so I don't mind.
Yeah, go for them.
So my 5th one is Visionaries.
Damn you, Simon!
We mentioned right at the beginning.
Sorry, bro.
13 episodes of pure awesome knights of the Spectral Knight with animals inside their chest that they could turn into. Had like power staffs that had like wisdom and anger. Like wisdom, knowledge, super speed, strength, all this kind of stuff. And yeah, it was just. I mean, again, as a kid, I watched the first 4 episodes. Again, I think we said at the beginning it was like a little mini movie of like there was this world of technology that and then one day the moons or the suns aligned, and then all the technology stopped, and it turned into sort of like a medieval knights thing with the spectral. I've got it up on there because I forgot what the names were. Spectral Knights, which were the good guys, and then the Darkling Lords. And then you
Darkling Lords, that rings a bell.
And then you had this wizard Merklin.
Yep.
Not Merlin.
Merklin. That's very smart.
Who invited both parties to get to be able to sort of become magical, which is how they got the animals and stuff. And they went through all these trials at the beginning, and because of the different things they did in trials, decided what animal they were going to be.
Yeah.
And then they got magical. The ones that had power staffs, the ones that didn't have these power staffs, then could then control vehicles. And it was just a great. Like the design of it was just great, and it was really disappointing when I got the DVD and there was only 13 episodes. Because I thought this was going to be like a long run of amazing stories, but it was just it was great. And then I think the one thing that I really liked about it was they had sort of like a rhyme they had to say to activate the power staffs.
Yes,
and then if they could only use it once or twice, and they had to go back to Merklin to recharge
was
it.
there massive stuff that looked like it had a mirror at the top of it?
Yeah, they were all different. Like depending, like the bad guys, the Darkling Lords had like gold staffs, and the Spectral Knights had silver staffs.
Yeah,
they're almost like the Roman banners.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you had, and there was one guy who was like the bad guy who had like an armadillo as a creature, had like decay. Was it decay? There was one that had decay, which was like a spider that came out, and if it touched you, you turned old.
Yeah.
There was one that had.
Sounds fucked up for a kid's show.
Yeah, it really was, right? There was one that there was one I can't remember. There was the Aardvark guy had the it was like protection or shield or something. He had like a sort of diamondy head, but it was basically came out and he just created a massive dome of shield. And there was one that was destruction, which was this massive creature with a sword that came out and just was a giant and just destroyed everything.
Yeah,
and then the good guys had wisdom, which was like an owl that talked to you in riddles. Knowledge, which was a guy with a big brain that talked to you in riddles. And then the cool ones was like super speed, which was the cheetah guy who could like zoom and shoot. Yeah. And then the guy who was like an eagle as a chest, there was a guy who was a bear, who had this sort of giant archer that would fire and stuff. And it was just so great.
It is so. I'm picturing it now, and yeah, just the visual scope of it is amazing. I'm also sat here as a D&D nerd now, and going, all of this is a spell of some kind.
Yeah.
Every single thing you've just said, decay and shields of protection and summoning animals, it's all D&D. And I've no idea whether that's where they spawn some ideas.
They've taken it from that, maybe?
I don't know, because we didn't know. I don't know, maybe it's not on the list, is it? We haven't actually specifically mentioned Dungeons and Dragons as a cartoon, have we?
No, we haven't. No.
Somehow. It's on my...
I think because we mentioned it before the episode, that's why.
Yeah, well, I never stop talking about D&D. As anyone who's listened to Bored Stupid will know, I can't help myself but bring it in even when we're not talking about it on topic. The Dungeons and Dragons cartoon from 1990 something.
I'd say it's earlier than that. I'd say it's 80s, 87, 88 even.
Again, such a cool concept. 5 kids on the roller coaster.
Being stuck into the roller coaster, wouldn't they?
Yeah, loop through this crazy portal and find the dungeon master.
That's the thing, because I was so
cunning little gnome.
That's the thing. I was so heavily into fantasy then. That was something I would love to have done as a kid myself. Just being this magic world.
Which character would you have been?
Totally the Archer.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, I liked the guy with the shield because he was kind of
a doofus, man.
But the Archer was 100% the one you want to be.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
I quite liked the Barbarian. Really, just batter shit. Actually,
yeah. No. If there wasn't that annoying unicorn thing, that would have been fine.
But in all honesty, though, as cool as the Ranger was, I always wanted, not because she was a girl, but just for the power of the invisibility cloak.
Of course.
It's like with that. So
in D&D, that was OP as fuck. So.
Yeah. But a lot of the shows, and probably we're going to mention, have always had like one alpha character that's the one you want to be.
Yeah.
But like Visionary,
the Red Ranger.
Green Ranger.
He was an add-on.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But Visionaries, they were all cool. Like every single character, bar the sort of Weasley little guy who turned into a beetle. All the good guys and all the bad guys were like cool. You'd be like, oh, I love the bear one, and I love the eagle one, and I love the lion one. It's all was very equally done. I remember watching the episodes. I watched them a few years ago. They all had their own sort of spotlight in an episode as well. So it wasn't just it wasn't just the lead. I can't remember what the leader was called now, but he was something like he was a lion. It wasn't always about him. It was like they had episodes about other characters as well. So
that's really cool.
So yeah, it's probably out of all the shows I've watched, like maybe a couple I'm going to mention later on, but there's very few that have like lots of characters that you can choose from. It's like, but usually it's just like, this is the one you're going to like. And these are some other ones that you might like, but
the backup team.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was my number 5.
Good choice. It's like you talking about it just there. Just remember me about the toys when I had.
I think I've still got some in the loft somewhere.
No way.
They go for quite a lot of money now.
I bet they do.
If they were new, if they're like new and pristine.
Well, considering you're never going to sell me the Batmobile, at least sell me those.
I mean, about 100 quid each. For each.
Nice. Sorry.
Me.
Number 5. Unless we've already gone into it, haven't we?
No, I'm sure this is going to be on. Although Stuart said he's going to skip all the comic book stuff, so.
Actually, my ringtone.
The X-Men.
Such a damn good
X-Men animated series.
Oh man,
it should possibly be higher in this list.
I say I bypassed all because if I was going to put superheroes, it was going to be that, Spider-Man, and Batman animated series would be my top 3 easy. But I was like, no, make it less obvious. So, but X-Men, great.
Totally.
Again, and that was my first introduction to the X-Men, was that cartoon.
Same here. Yeah, absolutely.
I've never heard of it before.
I am not a comic book reader as such. So, yeah, the cartoon was my understanding of all of the X-Men universe, essentially, until they made the live-action movies from 2000 onwards.
And then if you go back and all the episodes, if you actually go back and read like the Jim Lee era of X-Men, they took a lot of that show out of those comic books. They're literally taken pages out of the comic books.
Yeah, very direct from source, isn't it? And then you've got the classic, like the Phoenix Saga and
Future Pastors and
Future Past, when Wolverine comes back. Yeah. So Bishop comes back.
Bishop,
like an old
Bishop and Cable. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and even like things like that. You had Wolverine die and his skeleton in like a test tube in the cartoon.
Yep,
it's just like it's a kid show, man. That's like
Mr. Sinister used to scare the shit out of me in that show.
And he's my favorite X-Men is from that show and from just reading the comics is Cyclops.
Okay,
they try and push Wolverine down your throat, and that made me like him.
I've always liked the blue and yellow suit. Has always been one of my favorites.
And he didn't get over the story with him and Jean Grey and like them creating because Cable's their son and stuff like that.
That's right.
And like Mr. Sinister,
what?
You know that?
You know that?
I'm not actually.
So Miss Sinister takes the DNA of those two. So he does it a bit in the cartoon. He takes the DNA because they're the prime, the Omega 5 level mutants, and he creates a being, and it's Cable. And then he takes him to then in the comic books, there's a whole storyline of Cyclops and Jean Grey going to the future and bringing him up.
Okay.
And then later on, you get Cable's daughter called Hope, who comes back from the future and becomes the Phoenix as well.
Messiah.
It's amazing. It's some crazy stuff. So yeah,
it's one of my favourite stories. The X-Men Messiah complex. It's just about the birth of hope, isn't
Yes.
it? And
I don't remember
Cable
that.
protects her.
I don't remember that particular.
I don't think
sequence.
they don't do it in the cartoon really. Cable's in it, but they never mention that he's
Okay.
he's his son. They're his dad or whatever.
But then going back to what Stuart was saying about the Jim Lee thing, because I had got into those comics literally just before the show come out, and Rogue was hot in the comics.
Oh God,
She was even hotter in the TV show, man.
The Savage
Good
Man
God.
costume she wears. Which
Oh
is
my
just a
God.
ripped,
Sorry, folks.
ripped bikini.
I'm
Put your hands above the table, at least.
I'm not going to deny a crush on a cartoon Rogue.
No, absolutely.
She's great.
That accent.
Yeah, but that opening thing was just so... But the animation still lives up today, in my opinion, as well. It's
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Just
solid as. Yeah, for that style of animation, I wouldn't want anything different. Again, head lasers.
No, yeah, but
The
again,
Sentinels.
I don't know if you did this, Stu, when you watched it, but me reading it, I know you just got into them themselves, but there was always maybe like a cameo character in the background. You'd be like, oh, look, there's such and such, and there's such and such.
Yeah, like Deadpool shows up in it at one point.
Yeah,
in one
exactly,
episode.
yeah.
There's like loads of random characters. That
I was always a massive fan of Gambit.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, he was great. Is that
Yeah.
because he was after Rogue and he loved Rogue?
Maybe.
No, he was such a... He was great. He's an anti-hero.
He was kind of normal. Yeah, he was that kind of... He wasn't playing to be the hero. He was good at what he did.
Yeah.
And he'll help out for the most part, but he wasn't...
It's about number one. I think that one of my favourite episodes of that show is when the Sentinels are sort of got a big main base, and then they're going to go and destroy it and destroy the Sentinels because they're going to take over the world because it's just after the Days of Future Past bit, so they know these Sentinels are going to take over, kill them all. We need to stop this from happening right now. And Gambit's like, nope, I'm not having any of it. I'm not helping. Like, screw you guys, kind of thing. And he actually was like, and he sort of comes back at the end because they convince him. And I thought that was it's just such a great story. And then like I think they split off into teams. I don't know if you remember this episode, but Wolverine and Gambit go as a team together who never get on, like those two like never get on ever. And Wolverine, there's like they walk into this dark room, and then Wolverine's got a sense of smell. He goes, oh God, we need to get out of here. And there's just loads of red lights pop because those Sentinels, and he like pushes Cam outside the door, locks the door, and then Wolverine just goes and tries to sacrifice himself. And like, because he do it in the dark so you can't see claws going through things. Obviously, 'cause it's a cartoon. And then he comes, and then Gambit has to sort of blow the door open and sort of try and save him because he's like, it's just like the character development between them all, and like Wolverine being in love with Jean Grey.
Well,
and
the
Cyclops
kind of
Jean Grey.
unrequited love. But
Yeah.
she always had affection for him, didn't she? So
yes, exactly. Yeah, but then there was obviously Cyclops and Jean Grey being together. There's all these relationships in a team. Which I thought was just great because usually it's just there's a team of superheroes, but there's actually a family and of like people that don't get on.
And you really got that sense, didn't you? In there,
Yeah.
I always quite enjoyed Jubilee as well. As much of a throwaway character
yeah.
as a lot of people think she is, just that cool little, very much
the highly annoying firework girl.
Yeah,
but no, she was definitely. I mean,
she's got prestidigitation. Yes, D&D. What are you going to do?
Well, when they brought in stuff like Omega Red and whatnot, and then Apocalypse, and just like holy crap, it was just like, oh my God, this is getting so. Every episode just took up a notch. The next one, and when they brought in the Phoenix Saga and started bringing the galactic mutants into it as well.
It was like a 6-7 part episode cartoon to get that story done. I mean, that is really rare in a cartoon just to do a 7-parter.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
2-parters, great, but 7-parter storyline.
Yeah, to not just be episodic and have that really slow build structure is fairly unique, I think, in animation.
And if it wasn't for that show, we wouldn't get I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
You know who I am? You were your own pimp.
I missed that one. So
slap you, Bev.
Pimp smack your ass, bitch. Anything else you want to touch up on that?
I think Mr. Robbins over here has filled us in with
overtook that a little bit.
Vast amounts of
no, it's
knowledge.
Fine.
It was probably the epitome of style for that kind of thing for me. I've got 2 more action-oriented cartoons coming from the 80s, whereas that one was from the 90s.
Just one more thing about the X-Men. I don't know if you ever noticed, but when the title came up, when they're flying over the X-Men time, it used to say in brackets at the bottom, in stereo.
Yeah.
Remember that, right? So my dad watched me watch an episode once, right, and saw the part, it's in stereo one weekend. Weekend after, he actually goes and buys a stereo surround sound just to check if it actually was in stereo. Yeah, seriously. And it actually was. It was fucking badass. But yeah, just because of that little tiny bracket in there, we ended up getting a stereo.
That's awesome, man.
Like early 90s stereo.
I would prove them wrong, goddamn.
Yeah, exactly. It was like awesome.
I feel like that was one of the longest running animations.
It was one of the few.
I've got the box set. It's like 115 episodes.
But that actually had an ending as well, which a lot of cartoons never have an ending.
I don't think I ever reached the end.
That was like if there was
I had to borrow that box set.
Yeah,
please,
the finals, because it finished and then there was a final season which was a different art style a little bit. It's pretty much the same, but they changed a little bit. They made it a bit simpler, and they actually have a proper ending, which I won't spoil for you because it's a really great ending. But it's actually nice to have a goodbye.
Yeah,
like, this is going to be the last episode, because a lot of cartoons which like
just finish,
like they get cancelled.
They finish that season not knowing that they're not going to come back.
Yeah. Usually on a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
it's like, you're going to come back for the next season without this clicker. It's cancelled.
No.
Oh, crap.
Not happening.
Mr. Ant-Man.
So number 5. Again, apologies if it's in yours, but this is going to be very basic. My first 3 ones.
There's no way we're not going to overlap.
Exactly. So the obvious is He-Man. Number 5.
He-Man.
That's my next one.
There we go. Sorry. So we can talk about it together if you want.
Yeah, cool. That's my number 4.
So
the power of Grayskull.
Yeah, but going back to that thing I was saying about, do you find them very cheesy?
That is one. I was going to, when you said that question, I was like, But
this is the thing, because when you're a child, you don't notice Prince Adam. You just notice He-Man, right?
Yeah.
And you look at Prince Adam now, you think, how did I watch this? How did I not notice this as a kid? But you don't look at it.
It's just even the animation back then is pretty basic.
Yeah.
Like there is I recently watched, it's got me really back into He-Man. There is a Netflix documentary at the moment on Netflix in the UK called The History of the Castle of Grayskull, and how He-Man basically got created.
Yes.
And the whole thing about it. And it was really fascinating. Again, like I'm really into like going back and watching stuff about the stuff I used to watch as a kid.
Was it meant to be like a Conan Barbarian doll?
Basically, yeah. It was at Mattel. They basically got offered Star Wars, and they said, "Can you make this by Christmas?" And they were like, "No, maybe March." And they were like, "Oh, so it went to Hasbro, mate. I can't remember who made the Star Wars.
Mattel made them.
No, because Mattel was who was the company that said no. Surely.
No, Mattel made them back in the 80s. Hasbro made them now.
Sorry. So, yeah, okay, fine. And then the other company, basically, they didn't make them. They just gave you a coupon in the box.
That's right.
They said, like, you'll get your figure in, like, March time. And they were like, and the guy who was heading up the company at the time was, like, really pissed that he missed that opportunity and missed so much of the money. And then I think it was I can't remember how the documentary went, but basically some guy was just walking past this designer's or artist's board and saw this guy, this really muscly guy with an axe and a shield. And he's like, "Who's that?" And he goes, "Oh, just some guy I was doodling." And you just say they had the Conan film.
That's right.
They had a whole contract around, and then they realised it was like going to be an R-rated film. Like, we can't make toys for this. What the hell are you talking about? So they then couldn't do that. So then they took the sort of concept of Conan and was like, "Oh, we'll make it with like magic powers, and he's got a sword." Because I didn't even realise until like looking back at it now, I have the toys, that the sword was in 2 parts, and there was a purple part which belonged to Skeletor, and there was a silver part that belonged to He-Man.
Shit,
I never even got that. I remember as a kid, I had the sword, and half it was purple, and half it was silver, and I was like, "What the hell is that?"
The sword of Grayskull is half and half.
Yeah, so there's 2 swords, and whoever has both has the power of Grayskull.
Yeah, I remember Skeletor having purple.
Yeah, and I was like, because in the cartoon that was never brought up in the original concept for the figures. Like Skeletor had half the sword, and He-Man had the other. And I was like, "What the?" And I was like watching the documentary.
Genius.
I was watching this documentary, going, "This is insane." And like, yeah, it was such a. I think the original cartoon probably doesn't hold up well now. I was trying to watch a few like recently after I watched that documentary. I sort of was like they're all on YouTube. I was like, watching a few, and I was like, "Oh man, this is slow. There's lots of talking, and there's lots of walking sideways. There's lots of
a lot of reused animation.
There's lots of punching the screen, and there's just this cool bit where he just pulls up the sword and says, "By the power of Grayskull."
That was the thing, because it's like as a kid, you were just waiting for him to just turn the He-Man already.
Yeah. Turn Cringer to Battle Cat, and let's get this shit done.
Yeah.
Some of the
Prince Adam was such a weeb.
Yeah, big time, mate. Big time.
He's a waste. But it's a cool concept of like, because they redid the cartoon again in like the 2000s.
No, they did. Do you know they did it in the early 90s?
Oh,
Does anyone remember that?
Yeah, when he went to the future.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the all new adventures of He-Man. Because I used to watch that a lot as a kid. That was one of those things where I had on VHS. And it was like, these guys.
Very anime sort of animation.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, it was like these guys from the future who was like basically these mutant creatures trying to break this shield. And they've been safe for years, and then the shield started cracking, so they went, "We need to go back in time and find the good and stuff." And these 2 guys go back in time, and find Skeletor, and Skeletor's like, "Oh, I'm the good guy. I don't talk about. You want to take me with you?" And then literally,
I have no face. I'm the good guy.
yeah. And literally, and he was like really like he was being really nice to them. And then there's this moment because obviously in the original cartoon, like his mum and dad, who are the king and queen, don't know he's He-Man. It's just he's Prince Adam, this normal prince, and then He-Man is this separate hero. And there's this moment where the sorceress talks to him while he's talking to his mum and dad and says, "You need to go and get these people because Skeletor's got them." And he literally just turns around, pulls his sword out in front of his mum and dad, and just turns into He-Man. They're like, "What the hell?"
Mind blown.
Yeah, and it was a great cartoon, but it was okay. Then He-Man and Skeletor go to the future, and he stays there as like Adam, the nephew of the guy who rules the sort of planet. And so it's a bit weird, but yeah. And then they redid the cartoon again, but it was more about the original sort of concept, and that is actually pretty good.
I believe Netflix is doing another remake of it now, isn't it?
Kevin Smith's going to be doing it, and Mark Hamill's going to be the Skeletor.
Oh no, Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill's going to be apparently going to be Skeletor.
Well, he's got that scratchy voice.
I mean, I was like, that's
earlier,
fucking awesome. So yeah, I mean, that would be, if they can do it properly, that would be amazing. That would be like nostalgia overload. But
if he manages to throw in some of the memes from the Grumpy Skeletor page, that'd be hilarious.
That'd be bad.
But that's another show that went 100+ episodes, and I saw 3 as a kid on VHS.
Well, He-Man.
Yeah,
Really?
there's over 100 episodes.
And it's your number 4.
Well, no. Yeah, well, I know, but the other, trust me, the other 3 are great. But yeah, there was, what was the other thing? Because they were saying that because of the toys and stuff, they brought out hundreds of toys. They just made different versions of it. At one point in the documentary, they're saying that He-Man was outselling Barbie.
Yeah,
2-to-1.
That I can imagine. Yeah,
Wow.
It was insane. It was a real.
And they brought
takeover.
She-Ra into it so the girls can get in on the market.
Yeah, which
didn't
I
they?
mean, again, like that movie. I watched that movie not so many years ago, and that's actually a pretty good movie. This one makes
Dolph
sense.
Lundgren one.
No, the She-Ra movie. Like
There's a She-Ra movie?
There's
Yeah.
okay. It's on.
Okay,
It's on a streaming service, and it's literally they can't imagine. It's about the story is pretty cool, but basically there's another planet, and Adam goes to this planet because there's another sword with a diamond in it, which is She-Ra's sword. He has to go and find her, and it turns out to be his sister and stuff. And it's actually a really good. It's still the same animation as the original. So it's a bit repetitive, but this whole new cast of characters. And it's good, worth watch.
That sounds fun.
Worth watch.
You mentioned Conan a minute ago. There was actually a Conan cartoon. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
That was quite good fun.
yes, early 90s.
The Adventurer.
Yeah, so yeah.
Conan, warrior without fear.
Yeah, that was.
Yes.
I
I'll
remember
stop singing now.
Yeah.
So did you have any of the old generation toys for He-Man?
Yeah. So I had He-Man. I had He-Man, but I couldn't find his sword. He had some sort of weird spinny thing and a shield. And I had Battle Cat. I'm pretty sure I had Castle Grayskull, but I can't find it anymore. Like all my old toys are in my parents' loft.
I think I had pretty much the same thing, but I always wanted Snake Mountain.
Yes.
I don't know why, because I think there was like a feature in the Snake Mountain there. You could put your hand in a glove, and the glove would be like a snake, and it's like a massive snake. It comes through the hole. Does anyone remember that at all? That was like
they talk about it in the documentaries. I was watching it. Oh, it was awesome.
But I remember when they cancelled He-Man. Do you remember why they cancelled it?
No.
Right, so it used to be, I can't remember if it was, I think it was on ITV, it used to be an after school thing, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. And I said to my mum, why is this going on? And apparently this is a big thing about it, that it was cancelled because it was too violent.
Really?
Yeah. And
I remember, as much as it was about a jacked guy with a sword, I don't really remember
He never hacked and slashed him. He threw people about whatnot, but I can never remember why.
I literally watched something the other day. He froze the sword to like cut ropes and stuff. He never actually used the sword for anything.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was because he punched the screen too many times or something, but...
Yeah, he does punch the screen.
Yeah, I later found out that there was a massive controversy about it. The parents were just like, yeah, it's too violent, we want it off.
Yeah, well, that's why the film, because in this documentary they talk about the film and talk about Dolph Lundgren a lot, and the film sounded like it's going to be like the Snyder Cut. It sounded like it would have been awesome.
Yes, I know this. Yeah,
but they cut, like there was the end fight scene, which should have been an extra 20 minutes long. There was bits where He-Man was going to be slicing people in half, and the people that were like, making it like, He-Man can't do that, and he's like. But it's like, well, what's he going to do with this massive sword there? That's why he had a gun, like this laser gun. Yeah. He wasn't allowed to slice people up with this massive sword. And it's like they were making this. It would have been so good. And
it was meant to be much better epic fight between Skeletor at the end as well, wasn't it?
The guy who played Skeletor,
Frank Langella.
Yeah. So he's in the documentary as well, and he said that he was like really ripped at the time because he from a previous film, and he wanted to do like the crossbone uniform.
Yeah.
Because he was really jacked up. He's like, I'm already in the physical shape to be Skeletor. Do it. I'm paint me blue. I'm happy. No, I'm gonna put you in like a robe and stuff. He's like, what? No, but I'm jacked up. Like, what the hell?
Show me how jacked up I am. Yeah. Did you like the Super Money supermarket thing when they brought He-Man back onto the adverts? Money Supermarket.
Oh,
Oh, don't even.
man. I was like, don't ruin that, man. I mean,
Again, nostalgia, but no, don't do it.
yeah, I know. I mean, for a cosplay, it looks awesome, but don't put it on an advert. Like, God, so annoying.
So no, He-Man. That was so my 5. That's your 4
By the
side.
power of
What's
Grease.
your 4.
My 4 we have discussed already. Around the Twist.
Around the Twist, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. So how many seasons was it, and what year did it come out?
It was 1990 for 4 seasons.
That's a good impression of Jump.
Yeah, man, it was always enjoyable because you never quite knew what was going to happen, because as much as it was this family living in a lighthouse in Australia, they just had this wild invention of some. It wasn't like super level magic, but just something slightly weird every time. You're like, yeah, that was kind of fun. Just so unexpected every single time. And I suppose because it was on the other side of the planet as well, I mean, in Australia.
Yeah. So I assume they were ahead of us with their seasons or something.
I assume so, yeah. I mean, again, as a kid, no real concept
No,
of seasons.
exactly. No, of course.
Is it out on DVD?
I'm not sure I've ever looked, to be honest.
It probably is in Australia.
It's a bestseller.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah, good fun.
Good fun. So my number 4, again, apologies if this is in yours, but it comes to the summers of 89 and 90, which is TMNT, of course.
Dun, 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 dun.
There was just no way you can get past it.
You mean the hero turtle?
I do, yes. I'm going to touch up on that, actually, how, for some reason, again, being too violent, having the word ninja had to change to hero, didn't it?
Yeah. Did, for the UK audience.
Yeah, I think it's a Europe thing, to be honest, dude, because I know... again, there was a toy thing that I follow, similar to you guys on YouTube, and he bought an NES system up in Norway or something, and even on that one it says Hero Turtle on it.
Did you say NES?
NES. SNES.
Oh,
I'm in trouble.
What are you?
Dave won't be happy.
That's it. Greg's going to kick my ass now. But no, there was you couldn't get past it. There was the movie, there was the toys, there was the
I have
show.
nearly all the original toys in my loft.
Seriously.
I remember my uncle.
You're not going to send me the Batmobile, send me them.
I mean,
I'm not sure I ever had any turtles.
I had one. I think it was Leonardo, and I remember I must have been like 6 or 7. My uncle, who I barely ever saw, like came in at Christmas Day, like really late in the evening. He was just like, "Oh, like meeting everyone." He goes, "Stuart, I thought I heard something upstairs. Do you want to just go and have a quick look in your bedroom?" And I was like, literally a box, and just had every figure. I had 5-foot soldiers in
What?
it. All the figures.
way.
The blimp. I don't know what I'd done.
Oh my
You got the
God.
blimp?
I got the blimp and
Holy
the
shit.
skateboard. Like one of the skateboards they had.
You got the van as well.
I didn't get the van. That's one thing. But
Dude, I bugged my parents to hell
I
to get
have
me
no idea why. I mean,
toys.
he must have like loved me to bits that day, but that year. But he just bought all that stuff. He had a good year with money. I don't know, but he just bought all this stuff, and I was like,
must have done.
and I was like, dear God, man, they were just they were great. I mean, they're still pretty good like condition now. They redid them.
They've constantly redone them though.
Yeah, so I've got the 4 like multi-articulation figures, about sort of 7-8 inches tall.
Yeah,
as well, which are really nice.
But yeah, like I was saying, I bugged my parents for months and months to get me the toys, and then when it finally came to my birthday, I got Raphael, I got Donatello, and then I got Michelangelo. I didn't get a 4th one. I didn't get Leo. Oh, I went fucking crazy.
Ripping everything up.
I was like Cartman in the episode when he doesn't get the yellow Mega Man. Like, get the fuck out!
I feel it's a crucial question.
Yeah, who's your favourite, right? I was going to ask that.
I've always liked Leo. Leo, to me, is the leader guy. And when I was a kid, I always wanted to be the leader.
Uh-huh.
So that's why Leo was... And I think he had the coolest weapons. He had 2 fucking swords, for crying out loud. Katanas, sorry. So he was my favourite.
What about you, sir?
I think for me it's Donatello.
Donnie.
Nice.
And there's a weird consistency because I said earlier Gambit was one of my favourite characters.
Both stuff.
Both stuff.
Leader Cyclops as well, X-Men.
Yep.
So my favourite is Raphael.
Mm-hmm.
The badass.
Yeah, badass because I am, but no, I ain't.
You are.
That's how I brought up, but no. But I just love the Psy knives, and I like even like any film that has those weapons in. I love. Like the Matrix 2, that stairwell fight where he has those and he fights them. That's like my favourite fight scene, probably just because he uses them so bad.
Yeah.
You liked Electra then?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, for other reasons.
I'm not saying that I did.
For other reasons, but yeah, no. Like her
Jennifer Garner's a hottie.
you can get like replicas of those. I was tempted to buy at one point.
I was going to ask, have you ever tried using Sai?
No, I wish I could.
They are a tricky fucking
I'm
weapon.
sure.
We've got some dummy weapons at this Kung Fu school.
Really?
They are not a wieldy thing at all. I'd much rather have a stick. Stupid as it sounds, I'd much rather have a stick.
Hence Donatello.
Exactly, yeah. It's just the way he used to be able to, like, especially like the later cartoons, he holds them like differently, or holds them blades down so you can hit them over the head with stuff and throw them. It's great.
But again, going back to what I was saying about He-Man being too violent and how we had to change Ninja to Hero, I do believe they had to cut out scenes where Michelangelo had to get the nunchucks out.
I don't think he ever used them, did he? Just to swing around.
Exactly, yeah. We weren't even allowed that as well.
Yeah,
because
I don't know if you banned them, didn't they?
Yeah.
In their entirety in the country.
Yeah.
At one point.
Enter the Dragon got banned here because of that one scene.
Yeah,
yeah, and I believe the movie, the 1990 movie, had a whole segment cut out where Mikey just swings his nunchucks with one finger. It was he doesn't actually use them, but he got cut out. It's ridiculous.
He does that thing in the first movie. He just sort of shows off because he's another chucker.
Well, and it's completely cut. So when it came out on DVD and I saw this thing, I was like, mind fucking blown. It's like, where did this come out of? Is this the director's cut or something? Yeah. No, it was literally just the original version, and we didn't get it.
Why nunchucks? Why not the massive swords?
No idea.
It's like,
surely that's more deadly, or a bunch of size even.
Yeah, it's weird.
Who knows? But no, it has to be different. Again, the movie, the toys, the video. Does anyone remember the arcade?
Oh yeah,
the 3-player one,
the 4-player one.
You can get that on Xbox. I got it on Xbox,
or I got upstairs on the arcade.
Oh, of course you have.
I need to get on that MAME cabinet, dude. I don't know how I played it.
Next time you come over, I'll do it. But yeah, it's a no-brainer. But going actually, one more thing before that, where I said where the stuff got worse as it went on. I went back to it a few times. I think it's even on YouTube. There's like a top 20 mistakes of the TV series Ninja Turtles, and some of the animation and some of the stuff that they had to cut down or just use still cells because I don't know if they run out of budget or something at the time. Yeah. It's really bad when you look back at it. It's like, holy crap, how did they get out like that?
Wow. Did you like going back to like voice actor stuff? You know who the voice actor of Shredder was?
Wasn't it the guy from Fresh Prince?
Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil. That's it.
Yeah. Uncle Phil. I was like, what? When I found that, I was
Blast
like,
your turtles.
What the hell? Makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's like, how?
I remember when someone told me that for the first time, I was like, shut the fuck. There's no way.
Yeah, well, a bit like Hamill, you kind of think, well,
absolutely.
Why would he be anything other than Luke Skywalker?
Yeah. True.
I mean, that's just what they do. You don't really have a concept of seeing the same people in other things or hearing the voices. But now knowing much more about the voiceover industry, not like vast amounts, but you know that same people have done like 90 different voices of things you've played. Like, oh shit, they are everyone.
Yeah.
They're everyone I love is all the one voice actor.
Exactly.
So yeah.
So that's my. Cool. If that's not your number 3, Stuart,
no, it's
then
not.
It's not. What's your number 3 then, please?
My number 3 is Galaxy Rangers. Look at you guys.
Ooh.
Don't know that one.
Is that well? The name is definitely familiar, but that sounds
that sounds like some sort of French.
No. It's about. How do I explain it? It's basically like cowboys in space.
I swear I know this.
It has the greatest theme tune, No Guts, No Glory in it.
I think I've just remembered at least what it looks like.
I'll show me a picture because the name does ring a bell.
They've got like robot horses.
Yes,
kind of thing.
3 different coloured ones. One's blue, one's yellow, or one's gold, or whatever it is.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. I see. I got that confused with Brave Star.
No, Galaxy Rangers, man. One of my and again that's run for like over 100.
Yeah, I used to have that book actually that Side just showed. I used to have that as well.
I'm familiar with the image, but I don't think I ever saw it.
Right after we finish this, we're playing you the theme tune. But like it was basically it was about so the intro goes like 2 aliens travel to Earth in 2086 to help Earth, and they basically give Earth the power to go into space. And they make new colonies, similar to sort of Star Trek, make colonies and stuff, and aliens. And they basically need a police force to be able to do to sort of make sure there's no criminals and stuff in space. Yeah. So they have these police force, and then they have this unique team which get these computer implants which enhance different abilities. Yeah. So you've got Zachary Fox, who's the leader, who, as an accident, half his body got blown off, and it's now a cyborg.
It's cyborg, yes.
And he pushes his badge, and his arm base turns into a cannon.
Yes.
You've got Nico, who's like a telepath, and when she pushes the button, she gets her telepathic powers improve.
Yeah.
You've got Doc, who's basically a computer genius, and when he pushes the button, he gets more of a computer genius, which makes no sense. And then
Gets even brainier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Then you've got Shane Gooseman, who basically is a blonde Clint Eastwood. Literally what he looks like, blonde Clint Eastwood, and he is basically similar to Captain America. He was like made in a science lab as a super soldier.
Yeah.
Also and when he can adapt to any environment. So if he gets injured, you push the badge, it heals him. If he's underwater, he pushes the badge, he turns into a fish guy. He was like the guy. He was the guy you want to be, basically.
I'm just looking through some pictures. It looks amazing, and your description sounds amazing. I want to watch this show right now.
It is. It was just one of those shows where it's like cowboys in space, and I have to say, you had these robot horses. Again, I had like 3 episodes on VHS. I used to watch every morning, pretty much.
Yeah, I definitely had that book at one point, and I maybe caught a couple episodes on.
And there's this evil empire, and it's the queen of something rules it, and basically the main storyline is Zachary Fox's wife gets taken. And basically what happens is she takes the souls of the people and sort of stores them in crystals. And their mission is to try and go and save his wife as well as trying to protect the galaxy. And there's like I haven't watched all the episodes. I watched maybe 20, 30 of them. But like there's 100+ episodes of it. And it was just great. Apparently,
I didn't realise there's that many.
Yeah. And apparently, I watched this Toy Galaxy guy and he said that it never finishes. It got cancelled before the story finishes.
It's not another one.
But it was just great. And it was just so different planets. They go to different planets and help different people.
Sounds like a really badass video game they could make out that really.
Yeah. Again, and I've got 3 of the figures. I used to play with all the time as well.
I definitely used to have one of the horses.
Yeah, and it's just, I say, after this, we'll have a watch of the film. It has the best. Probably
we're going to watch the whole lot.
Watch every episode. We're going to watch the theme tune. Yeah, it's the best theme tune of the 80s, in my opinion.
I don't know. I'm gonna test you on that because if Simon's got what I think he's got in there, that's gonna test you on that.
Bar my next one, which is also good.
Yeah, my number 3 is a strong contender for the best.
Ooh.
Yes,
could be my number 2. Go on.
Thunder.
Yes, that's my number
Thunder. 2. Thundercats.
Oh. I'm going to join you in on this because it's my number 3 as well.
No way.
It's my number 2.
We'll all join in then.
Here we go then.
Love again a show. I had like the first 3 episodes for on VHS, and then one other episode, and there's 100+ episodes. I've got the DVD box set, and it's ridiculous.
Again, I don't think it had an ending either.
I can't remember now. I haven't watched it.
I don't think it did. The opening was very Superman, like the planet's doomed and leaving to another planet sort of thing.
Yeah, very cool concept. They send off this essentially savior ship as their planet of Thundera splits
the Royal Guard
in
kind of
two.
thing.
Again, I think watching that YouTube episode that you keep mentioning describes the reason why the planet split in two, which I had no idea.
Jarga's fault, man.
Yeah, apparently so.
Yeah, I watched the same episode. Yeah, Jarga froze the sword of Plunder into a volcano or something to try and destroy it. And it basically splits the planet in half.
That's right. Crazy.
That was
origin story, if you will.
It's insane. I was like, I didn't even realize that as a kid. But yeah, well, alongside with He-Man with the sword, that is probably one of the most iconic swords.
Sword of Omens.
Oh, ever. It grew. It could see stuff. It could do it. It could fly.
Put a fucking bat signal up in the
air. Well, I never realized that. There's even like the Eye of Thundera, which is inside the sword, actually powers the other Thundercats. So that's why whenever he calls them, they all light up because they become sort of more powerful.
Yeah. It's
which
like
I never realised.
A mystic sigil.
I thought it was just like, guys, I need help. Can you come and help me? And they're like, oh crap, Lionel's in trouble again. Let's go and help him. But actually, apparently, like supercharged them with their power because like you had like Tiger who could turn invisible, Chitara was super fast, Panthro was super strong. I love the
Wily
show.
Kit and Wily
Wily Cat with just like little mischief, and then you had Snarf, which was disappointing. But what a great show.
Oh my God.
The whole story of that show.
I don't even know where to start, man. There's just so many cool things. The art design, the character design was so cool because they were humanoids, obviously, but they had this cat background, so they were all super agile.
Even like the main character's a 12-year-old boy in an adult's body was a really cool twist.
Yes. Because his chamber grew...
Yeah, he had like his stasis chamber. Yeah, so he grows, but he's still 12 years old, where everyone else stayed the same age.
What was the old boy?
Jarga,
that's it. Yeah,
the ghost. Yeah. And that was like watching it back now. Like he sacrifices himself for the others. He like grows old because I didn't really understand it as a kid, but he's sort of sitting there at the computer console because the autopilot's damaged. Yeah, he has to man it for as long as he can, and he grows and his beard grows and stuff. I'm like, why is that happening? It's because he's sat there for not hundreds of years, but years and years and years.
That's right.
Piloting this ship so they can get to Third Earth. It's like I've never got that when I was a kid. I was like, oh, why is he getting all old and like weak? And oh no, he's disappeared. That's really weird. Like
then he comes back as you say, the mystic.
Wasn't it called Genesis? Thundercats Genesis.
Maybe
the first 3 episodes.
No, the first. No, yeah.
I suppose. I mean, it would make sense. I don't remember specifically.
Yeah, because it's reference to the Bible, wasn't it? The beginning, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think it went to Exodus, which is again another chapter from the Bible as well. So yeah, it makes sense, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. But like the Thunder Tank.
I found out far later in my life than I realised. At some point, I donated all of my Thundercats toys to something. I don't know what, like a toy sale or school or something.
All in my loft.
So upset. I had the Thunder Tank, I had Panther, I had Lion-O with the little thing you could plug in its back and his eyes lit up.
Yeah.
The snap-on claw on the sword.
Oh, you had that? You had the snap-on claw?
I had one of either Wily Kit or Wily Cat. I had some kind of flying thing which you could pull the trigger and it grabbed down.
Yeah, they're from like the later episodes. It's like Panther makes like 2 flying things.
So many damn cool toys.
Did you have the layer, the cat layer?
Cat never had, no.
No, I didn't have the big layer.
That's awesome. Lies lit up.
In all fairness, though, the figures were quite big. So could you imagine a cat layer having them inside it?
I don't think it was so much to scale because the Thunder Tank used to come out of one of the claws on the floor. That would definitely not fit.
Exactly. It was
the tank was a good 18 inches long.
I've got it. I've still got it. I found it recently when I moved out of all these toy boxes. I was like,
the claws lift up, and the cannons underneath. And there's a pop-out thing with
cannon at the back.
Machine gun or something.
It's weird you talking about the Thunder Tank because I remember years and years ago when working in Blockbusters, Mark is like Stu. He had all his in the loft, whatnot. And I always said to him as a kid, I never got the Thunder Tank. Always wanted the Thunder Tank. When Blockbusters closed, he gave me his Thunder Tank.
Oh, dude, that is a great leaving present.
Exactly. He's like, it's so cool how he remembered that as well. It's just like, dude, I nearly cried. It's like,
yeah, I bet I would.
I don't have the figures to put in it, but it's. Dude, that was freaking amazing. But the toys, I had one where you flew. It's like a flying one, but it had claws that came down and grabbed. That's the one you had. And then the bad guys had like one that you go under. It's like a drill. Yeah, and it goes underground, sort of thing.
That's what the sort of crocodile snake guy had. The green guy.
I don't think I had any. No, I must have had the monster version of Mum-Ra, but I don't think I had any other baddies. And I think that's true of almost.
I had the
all toys. You had like Monkey in. Who was the monkey? Was it? I can't. Jackalman. Yeah, good, great impression.
Monkey was the best.
That was a great impression.
What was the one that had the bird? What was he called?
Oh God, yeah, he came in later with that sort of rat guy.
That's right.
Yeah,
I definitely had him. I had
the original 3. So yeah, Slive and Jackalman.
Jackalman
and Monkey, and I had those 3 in Mum-Ra.
Good one, Slow.
That is the best impression. Yeah.
No, I only do that because, again, Simon knows me very well in this. When I went to college doing the media studies, I was such a huge fan of Thundercats. I even wrote a film.
Oh, dude,
done a script of it, and it was actually in 2 parts as well. It was like a 2-part. If I ever got big, I always wanted to make a Thundercats movie. And would you like to hear my casting list?
Yes, please.
You ready for this?
Are you ready for this?
Because
this is the most stupidest casting ever. But don't forget, this is pre-1999-2000, by the way. So this is 20 years ago. So Lion-O is Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Josh Hartnett as Tigra.
Okay.
Yeah. Michael Clark Duncan as Panthro.
Okay, yeah.
That would have been epic.
Who's Shitara?
Halle Berry.
Okay, yeah.
Wily Kit was Elijah Wood.
Okay, yeah.
Wily Cat was Christina Ricci.
Yes. Yes.
Wednesday, nice, okay.
And
amazing.
And old Mum-Ra, not big Mum-Ra, old Mum-Ra was Samuel L. Jackson.
Where's your mother go, motherfucker?
Yeah, but you would never know who was in there. It was going to be like, do you remember when Hannibal came out and there was that deformed guy? No one knew that was Gary Oldman. So I wanted that sort of thing to happen with. That's Samuel L. Jackson.
He would never let that happen.
Could you, Simon? Can you remember the lines Mum-Ra says to turn into Big Mum-Ra?
Oh yes.
I can't remember all of it, no.
Ancient spirits of evil.
Yeah, spirits of evil, yeah.
Transform this decay form to Mum-Ra,
the ever-living!
And he kind of was, wasn't he, arguably?
Because he literally said...
He was entombed in a pyramid of power.
He says it because he's... Again, I never realised as a kid, but the reason he comes out is because he always says, as long as evil exists, Mum-Ra lives. There was nothing on that planet, and then the Thundercats and the mutants, or whatever they were called, like Sly and stuff, landed. When Sly, Jackalman and Monkey went, evil came back, and that's when he came out of his tomb.
Yeah. And that's such a cool thing to have the basis of the show.
Do you remember how they used to defeat Mum-Ra?
There's the sword, wasn't it?
Punch him
To
a bit.
show his reflection to him, and he used to
yes.
freak back to his little...
Oh, shit, son. I had entirely forgotten that.
Again, it's in the opening where he just uses the sword and backs him up. Yeah.
No, there's like in the first he shows the cat claw or something to
That's right, yes.
Mum-Ra, and it reflects, and he sees his reflection, and he's like, he flies back.
But I remember going back to the script I'd done was the cliffhanger for part one. Because so basically, part one was essentially Thundercats Genesis Exodus, where they go to Third Earth, settle in, whatnot, and the whole film was basically them versus the mutants. And obviously, they defeat the mutants, they flee, and that's where what's his name? Sis Life.
Yeah.
And the mutants stumble across the pyramid. Because they're new to Third Earth as well, aren't they? They were never part of Third Earth.
That's right.
And they discover Mum-Ra at the end. And it was just so
massive
cool. It was a massive
I want to see
this.
this. I want to see this.
It was so good. If I ever find it, I'll dig it up and read it. It's,
Dude,
it's so heavy.
I'll be well interested in that. I'll say, well, like, going for it. So, before, when we got her, I passed something to Anthony that he wants to read, which I read very recently, which is a Thundercats He-Man crossover comic book.
I can't wait to read that.
Ooh, yeah.
And my God, man, it is awesome.
That'll work.
I read it recently. It's been out for a few years now, and I was like, it's so good. Like, it's such a clever storyline, and how they did it, and even the artwork's pretty badass.
That's some interesting artwork.
Yeah, it's badass.
Oh, this Tiger with his bolo whip. I always thought that was amazing.
Yeah, I used to love Tiger. I thought he was probably my favourite because he could turn invisible, and he could do that.
Oh, going back to the credits list. Sorry. Who was going to be the voice of Snarf? Do you know? I think I told you years ago.
Yeah, it's Fuzzy.
Yes.
Yeah,
a guy used to work with a Blockbuster. So he had a voice that would talk like this, and it's due back on Wednesday before 10 p.m.
Sounds snarf.
Exactly, but if you could get him to say snarf at the end of that, he would have done perfectly. But also, I want to add, you said that the opening is a good theme song to the thingy. I always preferred the end credits to Thundercats because that epic guitar solo at the end.
Oh yeah,
the very very end before the credits go.
Yeah, it was super fast paced, like the most energetic theme tune I can think of.
Absolutely,
just
So I say, Galaxy Rangers still tops me, but that's my second favorite theme tune. So, I mean, just the things like that, like the concept, the idea of what it is, and all the history behind it, and how deep they go with it. It's just so clever. Did you guys ever watch the remake they did, like the cartoon?
The
2011
animated.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday, weren't we?
The anime one in 2011 was so good. I was gobsmacked at how well they
did a really good twist on like making it more modernising it quite a lot. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah,
shame it got cancelled when it did.
I'd have watched dozens of episodes of that. I think they did essentially a season, didn't they?
Because it's another one like the old Thundercats again. Watching it back, he never actually uses the sword as a sword. He never hits anything with it really.
And very much like He-Man,
exactly.
There's so many kind of alignment with He-Man in the way that the episodes work, the kind of build of the team. Both got the annoying little psychic Snarf and Orko.
Orko.
And then at the end, they've got this really pandering, 2 minutes of what did we learn today, kids? Kind of thing. Like, oh, gee, dear God, why? And I don't even remember seeing that back in the day, but watching the DVD thing, like, oh, fuck, why are they explaining this? But you watch them literally walk into a trap, and like,
I know.
Can you not see the?
And like what Anthony was saying earlier about like episodes. So watching all those hundreds, there's the first few episodes which are great, and there's a few other episodes of like groups of episodes which are really great in Thundercats, and then a lot of others which are just, what's the point?
Utter dross.
There was so many random ones, and it's just like it literally was. It got to a habit of being the same episode. Was Lino goes off to do something by himself because he thinks he doesn't need the others, gets in trouble, calls them. They get there. By the time they get there, he's already fixed what the problem was anyway. And they're like,
rinse, repeat.
Yeah, exactly. They did, and it's so repetitive for quite a lot of that. There was one standout episode though that I really love, which is when Mum-Ra turns into King Arthur and he gets Excalibur from the Lady of the Lake.
I remember that one.
And fights the Excalibur and the Sword of Omens have a fight, and they end up being so powerful they fly out of their hands and they fight in the sky. And the Excalibur stabs the Eye of Thundera, and like all the Thundercats fall to the ground because they lose all their powers. And it's just like, what?
I do not remember that episode.
Spoiler warning. You should watch. Yeah, definitely watch it. It's really.
I'm gonna have to get my box set out.
Yeah, I was about to say. So in the box set, because I watched it a few weeks back. If you watch like part one of an episode, it would obviously finish on the cliffhanger, but the next episode wouldn't be part 2. It would be like 2 other random episodes, and then part 2 would come back later on.
Really?
It's never, I don't know if that was actually intended, or if the box set has done it when they aired.
Yeah, rather than the actual...
Rather than actually in order. I don't know, but it was just very weird how... If you ever go back to it, you'll be like, why isn't this the next episode?
Yeah, because they do think, because when they brought in those vehicles you were talking about they used to have, they brought in 3 new characters, didn't they? They brought in like a white and blue tiger. I can't remember what his name was now. No, there's an old guy who was blind.
I know you're on about, but
and a girl as well, and they brought those in, and there was these sort of pirates that was mixed in, and then later on I
was about to ask you, can you remember what they were called? Because there was one cool dude. He had like a massive.
I've literally got the figure of that. He's like Hammerman or something stupid. But he was like he was like the captain of the pirates.
That's right. They were cool though.
Captured these 3 Thundercats, and then somehow I can't remember because I definitely watched it, but somehow they brought back.
Hammerhand or something?
Yeah, it might be Hammerhand. Yeah, sounds familiar.
It was the mid-80s. It was probably nothing.
Hammer, big hand.
There'd be nothing more intelligent.
Big Hammerhand, but
add a Z to the end.
But somehow they brought back Thundera at one point as well. And that they all fly to Thundera and stuff like that. And
but they choose to come back in the end, didn't they? Or
I think it stabilizes again or something. But it's just so great. And there's an episode where there's a ghost that comes out, and then Jarga has to fight this ghost, and he throws the Sword of Omens, and it turns into a ghost Sword of Omens, and there's these giant ghosts fighting above Cat's Lair and stuff. It's just so beautifully done. Great show.
Definitely amazing show. Very nostalgic. So that was my...
That was your 3.
That was my 3. That was
my
your
number 2.
So you're 2 now. Now to your number 2, Si.
I'll straight on to my number 2.
Yep.
Oh, you should. Well, I don't feel like I'm ready.
I'll go to my 2, then you can come back to yours if you want.
No, let's go for it.
Okay.
It's Boy Meets World.
Okay. That's my that's my fault. Apologies about that earlier.
I thought, man, we're listing dozens and dozens of shows. There's no way
it was going to happen at some point, but
this show was like formative for me. It was perfect for the age I was when I was watching it. It was so damn good. It had an older brother, which I had an older brother.
Yep.
Didn't have a younger sister, but that was she was more of a bit part character. You had Mr. Feeney over the fence.
Yeah.
So damn
Which is
funny.
so weird because he only died last year in real life, and I thought he was old in that show.
Well, yeah, he seemed old at the time to us, certainly, but he was still a teacher, so I guess he was, in his 50s? So, yeah. I think it's just...
Was he the principal or just a teacher?
I don't remember him being the principal. No. Just very much had that authority kind of figure, though. And then, obviously, Topanga. Oh.
What was the geeky kid called?
Mouth.
Was it Mouth?
Mouth was what he was known as.
The big glasses, yeah.
And he showed up later on in One Tree Hill.
Did he really?
Oh man, One Tree Hill.
Yeah, I know, that's a bit of a weird thing. But
is that the one with Chad Michael Murphy?
Chad Michael Murray, yeah.
Michael Murray, sorry.
And Jenna Bush. But having not seen him since Boy Meets World 20 odd years earlier, and then went, it's like him. Because he hadn't.
Oh my God, it's Mouth.
He didn't look any fucking different at all.
No way, really?
Pretty much looked exactly the same.
Did he still have the glasses already?
I think he had the glasses and he's a bit like me, kind of slightly toothy. Starring Ben Savage and Danielle Fishel as the kind of 2 main stars. And then you had Will Friedle as the older brother.
Yeah.
Even more of a fan of him now. Again, he's done loads of voiceover acting. He did the voice of either Lion-O or Tigra in the anime version of Thundercats. He's done guest spots on Critical Role, which I'm a massive fan of in the D&D world. It was so well made. It was funny, it was lighthearted, but it was touching, it was heartwarming. Kind of gave you some moral dilemmas because it was very much about watching these kids grow up. And that was one of the really cool things for me, is that you saw them go from essentially grade school, like year 5 or 6, I think, all the way up to them graduating college, because it lasted for such a long time.
For quite a bit, didn't it? Yeah. What was his best friend called?
Hunter.
He had the curtains, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it's called Hunter.
Hunter.
The actor was called Ryder Strong.
That's it, Ryder Strong.
I'm sure it's called Hunter. Maybe it wasn't called Hunter. I don't know. Let's look it up.
But he was kind of always the opposite to the star of the show, wasn't he? He was...
Yeah, he was very much the kind of... Well, at least for a lot of the time, he was kind of the edgy, kind of... Not antagonist as such. But yeah,
no, but sorry, if I'm remembering it correctly. Didn't he? He wasn't very family orientated, though, was he? His friend, like his dad. Or he was living with just his dad or just his mum or something?
Yeah, he came from more of the broken homes.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at,
it gave you that juxtaposition of the two different sides, which is where a lot of the cool stuff came from, because you had that play of Corey with his very secure and they always had these massive houses. Same with remember the size?
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was a massive house.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was huge. The Home Improvement house. Do you remember how damn big that thing was?
I mean, he did do a Home Improvement show, so I'm guessing he just extended it. But yeah,
sure, yeah. I guess
big,
he was a
big American homes.
Successful TV star.
But I remember when he had his. Didn't he share his bedroom with his brother?
He did,
and they had their own toilet, their own bathroom or something. I was like, this house is huge.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, probably far. Thinking about it, far larger than. There'd been no reason for them to share a room.
No, exactly. Yeah.
It just set up loads of comic stuff with them fighting or whatever else. But yeah, it was just so... I've only got the first 2 seasons on DVD. I don't think they've released anymore. At least I've never found them.
They were quite hard to get hold of for a while because they were very Region 1 only.
Yeah, I've got American discs. It was... I could watch it now and be...
Not get bored of it.
Yeah, I'd be instantly emotionally taken back in time. As much as the others are fun to look back on and go, oh yeah, this... it's still fun to watch. This really emotionally connected with me. It's kind of like coming of age kind of thing.
You like influenced your life in any way, or like any impact life wise, or just enjoying the show?
I suppose growing up as a bit of a nerd, he says. That's an understatement. Jesus.
He's all nerd.
We're all nerds here, man.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm in good company and I'm very glad of it. But Corey was never, he wasn't the cool kid. He was the short, curly haired, geeky, nervous, slightly bullied kid, bit of a prat. I was never much of the class clown, but he was very much the class clown in the show. So yeah, it was nice to see someone much closer to me represented than just the cool kids or stuff like that. So yeah, that was really fun. I had a fun guest spot in one of the later seasons. I don't know if you probably didn't watch it as ardently as I did, but
go on.
Mick Foley.
Oh, no way.
Okay,
I did watch it for quite a bit, but I didn't realise...
Yeah,
but then I wouldn't know who Mick Foley was back then.
Well, I suppose... Well, I must have...
Because I never was ECW guy. I didn't know he was still Mankind.
This was in his Mankind days, I think.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think he even might have come into... It was when they were in college and they in the dorm room and he came in.
Oh, no way. Is it just a quick cameo then, or...?
I've got a feeling he was in 2 different episodes fairly close together in the season. I've no idea what the actual situation was, but I remember kind of nerding out.
Might have to look that up on YouTube, see if it's on there.
Yeah, I'm going to have a look for that in a minute and see if I can find it. I remember watching it. But obviously, Mick Foley being Mick Foley, you're used to seeing him as the hardcore superstar. And then he actually had this really touching moment with Corey, from what I remember. And
no way.
He kind of had this that's kind of really sweet. And it was like actually Mick rather than...
Yeah, not Mankind or Do Love or whatever.
Through a door or whatever. So yeah, I always felt like it was a less watched show compared to a lot of other stuff. I don't know. I don't know that many people that watched it, or if they did watch it, had the same fond memory of it that I did.
I definitely remember it because it was again going back to the Sky Cable days. It was exclusive to the Disney Channel,
right?
So I'm not quite sure how you watched it. Was it on?
I think it came on Channel 4, but it was probably like 2 years behind or something.
Right. Okay.
But, and again. One of my earliest crushes, Danielle Fishel as Topanga.
Yep.
That girl's hair was amazing. It was always the thing. It's just her hair was gorgeous. Still is now. I found her Instagram channel the other day. She has not aged.
No way, serious.
She's beautiful as she was back then.
Wow.
Not shy of saying it. So yeah, that's my. Can you hear the nostalgia in my voice?
No, absolutely. But I was going to ask you. Obviously, again, we touched on this yesterday when I met up with you about what do you think of the Girl Meets World thing they've done with it?
They did have I think I saw maybe an episode. Obviously, it's
7. Okay.
It's not something I've sat down and watched. I thought it was really cute, and a nice thing to be able to do is that they bring back both Ben Savage and Danielle Fishel to be the parents. They obviously ended up together in the show as a couple. There was always the on-off kind of thing.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
The young love, but. So they came back and they are now the parents, and it's now Girl Meets World, and it's their daughter going through the similar kind of things. And they've essentially adopted the role of the next level up. And I think even Mr. Feeney was in there.
Obviously before
he went. And that was always fun.
I never get when they announced that he had died. I'm like, I thought it was 10 years ago to me. I don't know. Again, him just being old, but he obviously played it off well or lasted quite long as as I thought he would. But yeah, good on him.
Yeah, great show all around. I really can't
it's a good
fault
choice.
it.
I definitely remember watching that quite a bit. It's a definitely good choice. That was your number 2, was it?
I was, yeah.
Your number 2 was Thundercats, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so my number 2. Right, going back to a question I said to you guys earlier, like, were you the guys that ever came or rushed after home from school to catch an episode of certain thing? So every Friday, I believe, I was on ITV. I think it was just before 5 or 4:30. There used to be a show called Nightmare.
Yeah.
And Nightmare was a kids show. Was it a game show?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah,
they won prizes.
Yeah, where it was kind of like the early or late 80s version of virtual reality, very medieval themed. Nightmare was actually spelt as in a medieval night, not as in a nightmare, dream nightmare, where they would put a helmet on and then a group of kids would guide them through like a maze or something.
Yeah,
maze of some sort.
You'd have like a team and one of them would put the helmet on and go into the world. Like, and the others, would direct him where to go, where he had to fight something or avoid something or go through a door.
Like the wall would come alive, or there'll be a massive snake in front of him or something.
Yeah, so it was a giant puzzle game essentially. But, the two remained behind with the keeper, and then the one kid who put the helmet on then went out. And I think in reality, the size of the set was something about the size of a football field.
Yes, yeah.
Or some giant like XL size kind of warehouse.
But you were so blown away. You were just like, I can't wait to see what was in the next room or something.
Yeah.
And, I think later on when the budget got bigger, there used to be a time where they would ride a dragon to get to the next world. Do you remember that part?
I don't remember that bit.
They would have a massive model dragon. It would, they would sit on it and then it would flap its wings. But obviously in the background there's a blue screen where it would fly from one world to another sort of thing. And that just blew my mind. Even the open, I don't know if you ever remember the opening song or just the opening to Nightmare. It was all cartoony, dark, fantasy, D&D looking thing. And it blew my mind. It's just
super
like, man,
dynamic.
Yeah, it was so freaking good. And the host always looked like Chris Rea for some reason. I always thought he was going to pop into a song at some point.
See, I always thought he reminded me of Little John from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Looking back, thinking back, I don't know why.
Big beard. Yeah, I just remember he used to sort of like egg them on and stuff. Like, oh, careful!
Yes, be careful, children. If you move to the,
and he's like, what? And he's like, at the end of the episode, he'd do like a lot of ending monologue of like, they're in this room. Will they get there? Don't know. Let's find out next time.
And sometimes there would be like a real person in there, and they would have to solve like a riddle or something, and then or give him an item, and he would give something back to them, like a key, something. He just, oh my god, it was just so freaking good, such a clever concept, and to think this wasn't adult orientated at all. This was for kids, and it was just like, again, why is nothing like this done today? It's a pre-virtual reality era we're in now at the moment. Now it's getting bigger and bigger by the day. It's just weird how nothing like that has come about ever since.
Yeah, and they could do it with the I don't know what the brand name is, but the infinite floor thing for virtual reality. So they wouldn't need the space anymore. They would just have the floor move underneath them.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the little treadmill sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Or even just a whole room that could move, a bit like the Jamiroquai video. Remember the?
Yes, that was real cool.
I can't remember that movie.
Virtual Insanity.
Yeah. Such a great idea where the people watching saw the world that the person was in, but the person didn't see anything at all. They were just guided by the earpiece that was inside this helmet. And I think they could just see kind of their feet because they could see enough to pick.
Yeah, like if someone was in front, they would have to. But do you remember when there was like a hunger system to it as well? And there'd be like an image of a knight's face, and it would tear off slowly
if they stayed too long in the room.
Yes, or if they didn't eat or anything, pick up a chicken to put in their pouch or something. And it used to be, oh my god, the very ending when the skull breaks off and then the two eyes pop in front of that used to freak the shit out of me, man.
I totally forgot about that. You just mentioned that, but I do
you remember?
Yeah, I just literally remember that. That's crazy.
It has to go on there. I mean, that was the one. Apart from my number one, of course, was the one I just could not. Every Friday, I just could not wait for it. That was like my week. I couldn't care about the rest of the week. Friday afternoon watching Nightmare. That was it for me. I just as much as I'd have loved to go on Funhouse or Finders Keepers, Nightmare was the one. Absolutely, I would love to have gone on that show, big time. Absolutely. Even now, realizing that if I was the one going in, I'd just be stood in a fucking nearly empty set with a helmet on, trying to work out,
walking around, going
sidestep left, the other left.
Actually, one before, do you remember when you used to pick up a spell on that show, and then the guys who were guiding you would spellcast. Like you get to a door and they would go spellcast OPEN.
Yeah.
And it would open up. The door would open up.
So good.
Yeah. Oh dear. So that's my number 2. We're now down to the number 1.
Solid pick, man.
It was very good.
Stuart, what
Is
is your
mine?
number
So
1?
mine. I went all like 80s cartoons on this one. Mine is
That's right.
Transformers.
Okay.
Right.
I'm quite surprised no one's touched up on that yet. Personally,
That is like, if I go back and look at all the toys I had as a kid, the Transformers.
you probably still have them, didn't you?
I do, of course.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure I've got some Transformers.
I'm such a hoarder. Transformers was the one, man. Like I had about it's the one I had the most VHSs for. I had like 3 or 4 VHSs with a few episodes on. I remember my friend Liam, who I do podcast with now, had the first 3 or 5 episodes of when they were on Cybertron, they came to Earth, and that whole storyline.
Yeah,
so it looked like, I think from what I remember, the end of that sort of 5-episode thing, they actually are on the way back to Cybertron, and that was like it was pilot sort of thing that was over. But then obviously the rest of the series carried on. They were stuck on Earth and they had to get energy on and stuff. And it was just, I mean, not only was it cars turning into robots and robots turning into cars and planes, and I mean, that was just cool. But the whole story behind it all, I found fascinating as a kid. I thought it was great, like Optimus Prime, Megatron, the battle between them, and everything like that. And I mean, then later on the Michael Bay movies came out, which the first one I thought was pretty good. The others have not been so much. And then about a month or 2 ago, Netflix brought out a 6-part anime.
War of Cybertron, wasn't it?
War of Cybertron. My God, it is. They've gone right back to the original cartoon and sort of modernised it in an awesome way.
Oh, really?
An Xbox game of War of Cybertron.
There was, yes, you're right, 360 one.
Yeah.
Similar kind of deal with that.
It's more to the original.
Okay. It was underrated, quite an underrated game actually.
Yeah, and there was Fall of Cybertron as well. They had a few sort of in the series. I played most of them. But yeah, I just loved it. I mean, the whole, and then the movie that came out in 1986. It probably
still has one of the greatest soundtracks to it ever.
Yeah, The Touch, and it's still probably one of my favourite movies to watch now. And I didn't. And again, as a kid, I never even realised that they killed off most of the original Transformers in the first 5 minutes just to bring in a new generation of toys. I just remember Optimus Prime dying and crying.
I was literally about to ask you that. Were you that child that cried when Optimus went?
100%. I was watching the film going, he just kicked everyone's ass and like beat Megatron. I was like, go on, Optimus. And then he's like, it's on the ground. I was like, wait, what? Because in the TV show, he used to take so much punishment and never really get damaged. And then they just get. I was like, what?
This is the thing, because I actually liked as a robot who was Ultra Magnus.
Yeah,
it also passed to him, but it wasn't going to be. It was going to be, what's his name?
Hot
Rod, wasn't it? Clearly, but as a robot, as a Transformer, I thought even the words Ultra Magnus, it sounds a badass.
It sounds
name.
amazing.
Yeah.
That sounds like some sort of new form of condom.
I got the special 10-pack Ultra
Magnus, please.
But I mean, and again, it's going back to what we were saying before, where like we had our favourite different turtle, and like Visionaries had like loads of characters that I think Transformers, obviously there was Optimus Prime, Megatron, but the other characters around them were so good, man. I could like list off loads.
Soundwave was always my favourite.
Yeah, I loved Soundwave.
Just the cassettes, even his voice. I think he had the most authentic robot sounding voice.
That's crazy digitization. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and
Command Megatron.
Yeah, because you think like the bad guys like had compared to the good guys. Usually the bad guys are overpowered. The bad guys had Megatron turned into a gun, Soundwave turned into a cassette tape. There was like 3 robots turned into a camera. I was like, you guys suck. Like you got a few planes.
Was a weird concept, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then the Autobots basically had just cars and vans and stuff. And I remember because I again got it on box set and watched like hundreds of episodes that they had. There were some really bad ones which we don't want to talk about. But then they had like then you had the point where they brought in the Dinobots.
Yes,
and they brought in like
best ones ever.
Dinosaurs and robots together. I was like, this is like some sort of amazing thing happening. And then they brought in like the Constructicons and then they turned into like Devastator.
That's it. I was going to say
combine into like Devastator and stuff. And then they brought this whole later on. They brought in like the Aerobots, which are like the Autobots. Because apparently I didn't even realize, but the Autobots were always land vehicles, and then the Decepticons were always like flying vehicles. So they control the air. The Autobots control the ground, kind of thing.
Never thought about that.
Yeah, and there was this whole episode where Megatron was like, we need to change this, and he built the Stunticons, which basically was like a big truck to take on Optimus Prime and loads of racing cars. That turned into like a big combiner. So the Autobots were like, oh well,
I think I might have had the toy of that. Just a bunch of tiny little brightly coloured cars, and then a big like loader lorry.
Yeah. And then it almost like, well, screw you guys, we're going to build the aerial bots, which are all planes that then turn into like a massive robot as well. And it just like, this sort of battle between them and stuff.
All just to sell toys.
Exactly, right? And it was just, there was, like, looking back on it, it was so cleverly done. And they also had that, like Spike and stuff, the humans that were in it, but most of it was about the robots. There was episode after episode was just robots. There was no human interaction at all. And there was just some great...
That's when it sort of failed, when they brought the humans into it, was the issue, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they were in the beginning, but it just, yeah, it was kind of weird having to... I think they brought in more and more in, but it was just great. They continued doing great episodes. They did the movie and then continued, like, I think there was a season or 2 seasons after the movie where Hot Rod was Rodimus Prime and stuff, and then they brought Optimus Prime back as a bad guy. He came back as like a zombie at one point, and then he came back, and then right at the end,
zombie humanoid robot. From
yeah,
outer space.
So it goes like again, like as a kid show, it goes into this whole history of like these sort of floating head things that are in the movie called the Quintessons, are the things that actually built Cybertron and built the Transformers, and they want them back. So they don't want them sentient anymore. And there was this whole thing like they brought Optimus Prime back from the dead to take the lead. Matrix of leadership, so they could use it to control like all this. It's just like
Transformers has got levels, like
yeah, right.
I
know, right? I was as a kid, I was just watching robots fighting. They transform into cars. It's amazing.
Shit, right?
And then you watch it,
and now an adult, holy shit, there's more to it.
Yeah. Holy shit, there's a whole history and like.
And why wouldn't you? Because as someone, I guess there are probably people our age creating this thing, and going, well, yeah, we could do that, or we could do this thing. And you just nerd out on it, don't you? And why the hell not?
But it's like I was saying back to He-Man, where there probably was story to it, but we were just like, just get your sword out and change to He-Man already, will you?
Exactly.
You know, it's just like we're ignorant.
I just want to see the damn sequence we changed. But yeah, if you go back and you read it, and I say if you go on Netflix now, there's the 6-part. It's basically going to be a trilogy of things. So there's 6 half-an-hour episodes, and then beginning of next year there's another 6 episodes, and then there's a final 6 episodes later on. So it's like a trilogy of a show. And one, the CGI is amazing, and then 2, just the callbacks to the original. It just works so much. It got me massively back into Transformers a month or so ago, and will always be my favorite.
I was going to ask you quickly, if they release Transformers now, do you think some of the major guys would be different to what they change into? Like, for example, there's no way if Megatron came out today's era, he would change into a gun.
No, I think in the new show he turns into a tank, which makes more sense. But yeah, I mean, like, I've never really made sense to me. I was like, why does the leader of the bad guys have a massive cannon on his arm turn into a gun that's then like the cannon is smaller than the whole thing he turns into? I don't know why they picked a gun out of everything like for him to turn into. Very random. Yeah, but yeah.
And were you ever into the GoBots?
Yes, a little bit.
I thought they were pretty good. Yeah. Obviously, they're not a touch on like Transformers,
like Voltron as well. But it was more. I got into Transformers well before that, and then I saw that stuff, and I was like, "Oh, is this Transformers? No, that's not Transformers. That's weird. What's this?
Who are these guys?
Yeah,
the cheaper version of Transformers.
I was never sure if they were related, like officially related to Transformers, or
they never did a crossover or anything, did they?
No, I don't believe so. No, I've never.
That would be pretty freaking cool.
I've never seen it. I mean, I've read a couple of comic books where Transformers and like Captain America and stuff crossover.
Yeah.
And the Avengers crossover and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? Makes no sense.
Well, no, because I recently read that Ninja Turtles and Batman crossover.
Yes.
That was badass. That was pretty freaking cool, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, read the movie.
Shredder beats the shit out of
there's an animated movie they did of that, and like, I've never realised.
I watched it on.
Yeah, before that movie, how much I wanted to see Batman fighting Shredder. I was like, why have I never thought about this? And they've recently brought out a comic book crossing over 2 of our favourite things of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers.
What? No way.
Has recently come out, and
I am here for that.
And I'll show you some pictures of this. It looks amazing, but the sort of premise of it is Shredder becomes the Green Ranger, and then
Simon's
you need
to see Simon's face now. He's got such a massive smile on him.
And then just the concept of it, I'm like,
and then I don't know why, but April and the 4 Turtles get the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers power morphers, and then there's a comic book where Mikey's like, well, we've got to do this properly, right? It's morphin' time, and they turn it, and like Donnie's blue, Leo's blue, Donnie's black, Raphael's red, Michelangelo's yellow, and April's pink, and they've got the sort of costumes on over there.
Yeah,
it just looks crazy, man.
It sounds amazing.
If you just Google the images of how they done it, I was just like,
badass.
I was like, this is.
I can't wait to see the artwork for that.
Trust me, I'll show you. It's crossing over the two, like the He-Man Thundercats thing, just crossing over two amazing things and making a cool story out of it. It's very cool.
Oh my God, sounds good.
Yeah, so that was my number one. So carry on.
Good choice. Simon, number one. Please tell me, because if you're not going to say it, I'm going to be so pissed off. Go.
Well, we're not going to move very far away from cars and vehicles that can transform.
I know where this is going.
And this is a show that I feel not that many people watched. Maybe I'm wrong. And that is Mask.
Yes! I was waiting for you to do that.
And I am not talking about the green-faced, made famous by Jim Carrey.
That was so close to going to my top 5, I'm not going to lie. The Masked Crusaders, working overtime.
And this is what I was saying about opening songs. That has one of the best opening songs ever.
Another great 80s theme tune.
That and Jace.
Yeah, the Mask theme tune is great. It had the vector graphic design going on in there.
I had some great toys from that.
I still have all of my toys for it, including Boulder Hill.
I spent the whole podcast not mentioning it because I was hoping it was going to be another one.
I know. So Mask, for those who aren't aware, is a purposefully misspelt acronym for Mobile Armored Strike Command, the command being spelt with a K, therefore making Mask. Your classic good guys versus bad guys. Each side being gifted with, and I don't know if they ever told us where the power came from, but they each have these unique masks which are powered.
That's right.
And each has a different ability, and throughout the series and different lines of the toy, because again, this was a cartoon made to sell the toys having come first.
Absolutely.
It's very clever, I suppose, but I would never have thought of it as a marketing tool. We've got this thing. How do we sell it? Let's make an entire animated series.
Yep. Happened a lot more than you think. Even the toys for He-Man came out before the TV show.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yeah, Transformers, He-Man, Mask are the three big ones that I'm aware of.
I remember Mask having such a towards character-wise, a very G.I. Joe theme.
Quite G.I. Joe in
who was the guy? Who was the leader of the good guys?
It was Max Tracker.
Max Tracker, that's it.
Yeah.
And the bad guys were called Venom, but I can't remember the leader.
That's what I'm saying. G.I. Joe with Cobra.
The vile evil
Venom.
Network of mayhem.
Is that what it's the?
Yeah. Is that what it's for?
Yep.
I never knew that.
And they were led by Miles Mayhem.
That's it. Yeah, and he had the big moustache, and he had like a brother, didn't he?
He did.
I swear, I've got the toy at home. I swear there was an episode where they were all racing through deserts, and they have like a race car that's got 2 seats either side, and it splits off.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah,
Miles Man had the jet that turned helicopter, though, right?
He did. Yes, the kind of bluey purple jet.
That's right.
Just let's turn his helicopter into a jet. It's like what? Why would you not just keep a jet? Why would you ever be a helicopter?
Why would you even get the helicopter out?
That was such a weird one.
Because the toys can transform.
Exactly. I remember
cool.
I remember the leader of good guys had the red car that turned into like a flying. The doors opened up. And it
the
flew.
gold wing.
And he also had the same thing as that other race car. He had a blue and yellow race car, which I've got, which turned into a plane as well.
He did.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the best things about this show was the variation on the transformation of these things. You had there's a green motocycle ridden
helicopter. Yeah.
Oh God, who rode that? I should know this. I've forgotten his name. But yeah, essentially rotor blades came out of the tail of this motorbike, and he could take off. Yep. He was a magician. I remember the guy who rode it. And
there was one where it was like a sort of pickup truck that a boat flew out of, like an orange boat.
Yeah, the top part came off, didn't it?
Yeah,
I used to have the 18-wheeler that one of the exhaust pipes was a rocket launcher.
Oh, the red thing. Yeah. It was amazing.
The back part of it was just a base, like a portable base version of it, wasn't it?
That was Rhino. And
was it? Yeah.
That was driven by Alex Sector, who I most closely resemble, being bald-headed and ginger-bearded.
These names, man, they're just...
He was an animal specialist. I remember in one episode he was called to action with his wristwatch flashing the Mask logo, and he essentially, whatever he was preparing, he just threw at the nearest crocodile that he was looking after. So yeah, it was your kind of classic, good, say, the evil network of mayhem trying to take over either the world or the city or gain some...
So how many episodes was that? Do you know how many episodes they did of that?
I've got the box set, which I actually back in the day ordered from Australia of all places, and it's upwards of 80 episodes.
Jesus, no. Again, I've probably seen like 5 episodes.
Well, I had, as you've mentioned, the classic 2 tapes with 3 episodes on each, which I watched loads. I had far more toys than I had episodes on, so I didn't know who half the characters were.
Yeah.
But I had people like Lester Sludge, who was
I don't remember any of the
a
names.
bad guy. He could shoot, as I say, each of these masks had special powers. His was essentially to shoot out oily, toxic waste almost. And he had a quad bike that the toy would flip out and there'd be a Buzz chainsaw coming out the front. So when they were racing, he'd suddenly come attacking your vehicle with his crazy chainsaw coming out the front.
I remember a few of the toys they had like a character in it, and then it had like a hologram character as well.
They did, yeah. Later line, they basically the vehicle split into two.
Yes, I had like a black car that pulled up and it was like a trike underneath, and the top part of it was a plane. I remember that one.
Yep. I had one called Jack Hammer where the driver could, I think in the cartoon he slid somehow through the sunroof, but in the toy you had to take him out the door. But that was a cool thing. You could put the characters and they're pretty well articulated. You could sit them in
knees bent, didn't they?
And, sit them in the vehicle and then take them out and put them then in the gun turret that was now on top of this huge.
They weren't very big, the toys either, were they?
About 3 to 4 inches.
Because you had the massive cars and stuff. And then the transformations were quite cool. It wasn't just manually, you push a button and like things would happen.
They were sprung loaded. They had missiles.
Simple transformation. Wasn't very technical like a transformer, no offence.
No, that's fine.
They're mostly 1 or 2 bit slids. I say the later ones got a bit more complicated. So I've got a jet plane, and the back half comes off and becomes essentially a Formula 1 or Formula 3 race car. The hologram then pilots one or the other.
Oh wait, it's like a pink thing.
No, this is like a desert camo kind of.
Okay,
brown
I remember one I had like the long dragster racer, and it was like a pink racer at the bottom, like a blue plane at the back that would come off.
Yes, yeah,
that was awesome.
That one. Yeah, cool. There was one that was like a VW Beetle, and the top shell came off and then split open to become a hovercraft. Nice. And the bottom bit would be this lime green race buggy. There's just no end to these things. They even had there was one called Pit Stop, and it was essentially a billboard.
Yes, it was like a petrol station, like a mini petrol station. Yeah,
and then that flips open, and inside was
rockets.
Rockets and a gunner and stuff.
Simplest things, isn't it?
It's so damn cool. Sorry, I'm talking more about the toys than the cartoon here, I suppose.
But no.
But these masks, as I say, that was like the key selling point. Apart from the vehicles are awesome. But the masks all had these crazy, crazy powers. Matt Tracker had Spectrum, which varied across the series as to what it could do. But at one point, it could essentially create a daylight as a sunblast. It allowed him to fly, just kind of levitating across spaces. One of my favourite was Buddy Hawk, and the D&D bit's going to come out at me again. He essentially could cast blur, so his entire body just started shimmering back and forth, and he could objects would pass through him. So when the bad guys were shooting him with their shurikens or whatever else, nothing would hit him because he'd just be vibrating on this in place, and it was just so cool. They had stuff that would demolish things. Obviously, all the bad guys had nasty stuff. So they had like Viper whips and fire. Miles Mayhem was a fireball, which was awesome. A bit like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. I suppose. He's kind of focusing and this enormous jet of fire, which in an 80s cel-shaded cartoon just looked
amazing.
It was just so cool. Super colourful, super inventive. The episodes were only about 20 minutes long, so you never got bored because there was always some action. Again, had the kind of hokey ending at the end of, hey, you shouldn't have done that. What have we learned? And Matt Tracker's son was in there, and you had this robot T-Bob.
It was like a rip-off R2-D2 with wheels.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Humpty Dumpty looking thing, but it could turn into this little one-wheeled scooter thing.
Right.
And he'd always go off and get in trouble. And there was one episode where they went fishing, and he went to go diving into the lake, and the robot went in first and smashed into the ground. And then the kid's like, oh no, we didn't check, the water wasn't deep enough. And then the dad comes along like, well, what did you learn, Scott? Like, always check the water before you fuck me. Can we get back to the rampaging action? But yeah, then later series they had stuff like the race cars, and there were stock cars and stuff, and they actually almost moved away from straight up fighting to battling in races and stuff.
It's kind of like the wacky race. It turned into wacky races a little bit.
Yeah, essentially. But then with all these like uber-powered transforming cars, but I never knew where the masks got their powers from. You saw them charging up at the beginning.
Yeah, it's literally the first shot, isn't it? The opening.
Yeah, they all sitting around a round table, and it comes down into the masks, and then it goes on their heads. Yeah, I know. I didn't realise that was a special power. I thought they just had cool masks.
They were just there.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was based on a power.
Well, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but because both sides have them, I don't think it was like an invented technology. I always assumed it was some kind of slightly mystical thing.
Yeah, makes sense.
But I don't know, but they looked cool.
They did.
They
Totally.
weren't just generic looking
Could
things.
they come off in the figures?
Yes.
Yeah. I couldn't remember if they
fully
could or not.
removable, all had different outfit. Not that you could remove the outfits, but they all looked really
I could never
different.
remember if they could take the helmets off on the
Yeah.
toys.
Yeah, it was really detailed, actually.
Yeah, when you consider how small they were very well detailed,
Mm.
relatively nicely painted. Every single helmet was differently designed, so you
Yeah, they were sort of like a soft rubber as well, weren't they? I remember.
Yeah. Occasionally switched them on the wrong person.
Damn straight. That's what I did there all the time.
Couldn't quite pull
This
them
one
off.
looks much better on this guy. Yeah, there we go.
One of my favourites was a guy called Bruce Sato, and he had a motorbike, which was just. I love motorbikes. My dad always had a motorbike, so the motorbike
The wheels don't split apart, right?
Comes
I used to
hovercraft.
have that. Yeah. I remember that.
So good. And it had a harpoon that came out the back like a tow rope.
Yeah. I remember the other one I definitely remember I had was like a bad guy, was a woman with a purple car that would flip out.
Yeah, Viper, I think.
She was awesome.
She was such a badass. Occasionally in the cartoon, she had kind of a moment of realization. She's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be a complete dick.
Then she did it anyway.
What did we learn this week?
Don't be a complete dick.
Some good choice. Damn good. I'm so glad you put it in there.
Yeah,
Because I was
right.
like, oh shit, how am I going to go follow this if he doesn't put mask at number one?
No, man, it had to be there. You know how much I love
Good
that
work.
show.
Exactly. So my number one is it's a bit of a cheat, really, because it technically is a kids show and it was aimed at kids, but it is kind of a kids game show, which is a big title.
Okay.
So every Wednesday afternoon, especially early 90s, there was a show on Channel 4 at 6:30, hosted by a man called Dominic Diamond. And it is a show called The Games Master.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
I had not even considered that as an
Absolutely friggin' love that show.
Hells
yes.
That is floating head. What's his name?
Patrick Moore was the Games Master, wasn't he?
Yes.
And just,
dude.
Yeah, it was just...
I used to love that show. Why did I not think of that?
It was that show again pre-internet. It was the show that if you were into games at the time, because it was very Sega Nintendo war at the time, you were either one or the other. It would give you information. It would give you how to reviews on games. It would tell you how to do cheats on games sometimes, and then it would do the Games Master version where you would fight for the golden joystick. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
golden joystick?
Yeah.
And the thing is though is that if you look back at it now, you would never get away with it with today's games, because some of the games were fighting games, sports games, whatnot. But especially the fighting stuff, because they were using stuff like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. Parents today would be like, "Why is this? This is on 6:30. Why is a man ripping his heart out and all that sort of stuff?"
Yeah, I remember watching the guy do like a 54-hit combo on Killer Instinct.
Exactly.
Like, oh my god, that's so.
Yes.
That was that episode, and I'll never see that again at the time.
Exactly, and there was obviously the other easier ones where you played as Sonic, get 50 rings in the space of a minute, all that sort of stuff. But Dominic Diamond as a host, it just... I think he got away with too much stuff, because when he got to season 3, they got rid of him, didn't they? I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, it went to Dexter Fletcher.
Which he was a good enough host, don't get me wrong. But
Dominic was really acerbic, quite edgy, wasn't he?
Yes, and he would always say a sarky comment where you didn't know if he was actually joking or ripping the piss out of this person.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you remember, every season had a different theme to it. Like season 1 would be in a church, season 2 was in an old
warehouse,
factory,
industrial thing.
Yeah,
I remember that one.
The third one was in
layers.
that's right, and then the third one was a mental home. Season 4 was in an ocean or something like that. Season 6 was in heaven. So it was just they changed it up every time, and I can't get enough of that show. I miss it so much, but again, we would never be able to do it nowadays because
it'd be interesting
because of the age rating thing.
Because it was a live crowd, wasn't it?
Yes,
so they had this,
yes, it was
a whole host of people in there,
Yeah.
like some kind of convention.
Because I remember you could join, if you watch season 1, you could join the fan club, and if you joined the fan club, they actually invited you to go on to season 2.
Okay.
And I remember getting the letter. I mean, I was saying to my mum, I'm begging her, please let me go on it. And just still being a kid, I was technically 11 at the time season 2 had come out, and they were having a Street Fighter tournament. And I was so into Street Fighter at the time because my dad obviously works with arcades, and I remember playing it with a guy who fixed the machine, and he was telling me all these secret ways, like Zangief, his weak spot is at fireballs and flying kicks. I was like, oh, let me go on Games Master Season 2. Let me be on that. I want the golden joystick. But, so It's one I wish could bring back, and I can't really go back on YouTube and watch. They've got the whole lot on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, seriously.
Doing that after this?
And it has a badass opening song. It's not as good as Mask or Transformers, but it's in there for opening songs, or with Thundercats.
I can't remember the Games Master tune.
So yeah, I'll be very quick on that one. That was my number one. But my last question to you guys before we go is, out of all your shows, probably your number ones, what would you like to come back or be remade for today's generation?
So they recently done Transformers. I know Transformers, they've done the movies and stuff, and it's sort of but
there's a few that have come back, like TMNT's come back, and as you said, Thundercats has come back at one point as well.
Netflix, this Netflix Transformers show, definitely check it out. It's amazing. I mean, Mask would be a pretty cool one to bring back.
Mask would be amazing.
Would be
again, a bit like they did with the Thundercats anime style.
Yeah,
having that slightly, not to make it more adult in gritty particularly, but kind of make it a bit more
modernize and build up the action stuff. But I mean, like my third one, Galaxy Rangers, I'd love them to bring that back, like space cowboys with powers.
Dude, do you know what? You talking about it, like I said, I remember a few episodes, but I just want to go back and watch the whole lot now. Yeah. I really do. There's a few things I want to go back. I want to watch Mask and whatnot. Yeah, was it? Okay, sweet.
Like Galaxy Rangers, they could modernize really easily and bring it back. But it'd be interesting to see what it's weird with cartoons now. They haven't brought anything. Visionaries would be another good one as well.
I think what they could all stand very well to do is have a level of refinement as well.
Yeah,
you can look back at the entire existing thing and go, okay, what actually genuinely worked well? And I suppose arguably it wouldn't be targeted at kids these days. It'd be more targeted at nerds like us who want that refreshment of nostalgia and go.
But that'd be cool, right? Because they can modernise and make it more gritty and
in talking of animated style, because a lot of the generation now is a CG cartoon, like especially the stuff my daughter watches. Could you see Visionaries as a CG remake?
There's some ugly ass modern day stuff. It hurts my eyes to
totally agree. Very cheaply done, isn't it?
I'm not saying that there isn't some good stuff, but I can see that they've bought their production.
Yeah.
And some of the modern stuff looks shockingly bad.
I mean, I'm interested to see what the He-Man's going to look like. Because they brought back She-Ra last year. It was this weird Pokemon-style animation, which looked horrible.
Okay.
So hopefully Kevin Smith's going to go, no, because he's sort of a bit older than... Is he same age as us or a bit older than us? He must be
just turned 50.
But 50. It is meant to continue from where the first series ended, though. That was the point of him doing it.
Yeah. So hopefully it's going to be like, keep very homage to that. But I mean, like they I don't know if you guys watch it. I mean, I have seen a 10-second clip of it, and I'm never watching it. But they brought back Thundercats last year. But
we were talking about this.
Thundercats Ho.
Is it Thundercats? I thought it was Thundercats Raw.
It's very Cartoon Network.
Oh my god! What the actual?
Yeah, it's like watching a Funko Pop version.
Yeah. Yes. What I mean, why you go ruin a whole generation's childhood, man? What the?
I can only assume a bit like He-Man being in an insurance advert. Someone has now lapsed on their copyright ownership, and it's been bought by some conglomerate.
Or Michelangelo saying "Booyakasha."
Yeah, we can.
Doesn't work. If it's not cowbugger, come on.
It worked back then. Let's see if we can.
Apparently, I mean, like we like me and the guys on Legends of Podcasting really read up on it. And apparently, this guy was a massive fan, and it was his vision of it. And we were just like, "What? What are you talking about?" We've asked him to come on the show and explain himself because he got cancelled after 2 shows because it's like, what are you doing?
Wow. Yeah, is it actually cancelled?
I think the first episode aired. The second one got made. I don't know if it was ever aired.
I know.
Then that was it.
Do you ever watch Teen Titans Go?
Yeah.
They appeared on that, so I don't know if they were still going or not. Because my daughter watches. She loves Teen Titans Go, but when they showed up on that, I'm like, oh, is that still going? I didn't realise. But
I hope not.
Yeah, exciting.
What I'd love, apart from modernising the animation of Mask, have a computer game
of Mask.
I think because the level of variability in there is, I suppose, a roaming.
How cool would it be, like a massive kind of multiplayer, and you can get like every vehicle?
It'd be like remember that computer game Twisted Metal? It'd be like a giant demolition derby.
Oh my god, that was amazing!
Things.
Well, you've got the 2 levels of it. You've got the vehicle combat and their ability to shape change, and then also just having it as the characters and all of their mask abilities to go. okay, who's loaded in? Oh, we've got a Matt Tracker, we've got an
Yeah.
Alex Sector. Well, that guy's going to be hard to hit because he's got the impenetrable mask thing on, but they'll only have limited power charges. Is how I'm imagining it.
They do at the moment like that. The new Avengers game that's come out, you can play as at the moment it's 6, but they're going to add to it. But online, you can be 4-player online co-op and pick, and you can't be the same character. They could do that quite easily.
I think that'd be amazing because there were so many different characters in there, and they're all quite unique characters. And I remember watching in whenever whatever situation had evolved, like someone's trying to hack into an oil refinery to hold people hostage or whatever. Matt would then have to choose which of his team he wanted to pull in, and I'd obviously be wanting it to be certain people. Having the VHS, I knew it was only ever going to be the same 3 people. But throughout the episode, you got that kind of variability as well. There's a huge bunch of different characters to pull from, and they each had quite...
That would be awesome. I definitely give that a
They
go.
weren't massively deep backgrounds, but one of them was a baker, one was a music teacher. They've all got these kind of...
Alter egos.
Daytime
professions,
jobs.
if you will, yeah. And then I suppose they had slight anonymity with the full face mask they each had. But I think that'd be I always wanted that.
Yeah, it's a good choice, man. I mean, mine would definitely be, obviously, my first number 1, number 2, Games Master, Nightmare, bring those back. That'd be fucking awesome. I want that golden joystick. Right, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up there. Enjoyed yourselves?
Very much. It's been a trip down memory lane, man.
Absolutely,
It's amazing.
Man. Really enjoyed it. I hope you guys listening enjoyed it as well. Want to say anything else before we go?
Sorry, I couldn't shut up. I do apologise.
No, I absolutely loved it, man. They're telling you.
If you tell me to write a list about
because
stuff,
at the end of the day,
enjoy
if you didn't do the list, I was going to do the list. So honestly, you've done a job for me. So thank you. So yeah, if you enjoyed the episode, guys, you want to follow us on Facebook at the M.T.V.B podcast or on Instagram at M.T.V.B podcast. Subscribe to be notified when future episodes are available. So this is the M.T.V.B podcast, and this is that man signing off and about to watch Galaxy Rangers.
Woohoo!